The flat tone of the medical scanner confirms what Dr. Stephen Bell already knows: the Ocampan child on the bed before him is clinically dead. The monitor's display shows 180 seconds of cardiac arrest, but Bell's mind races with calculations and possibilities rather than acceptance. In the sterile confines of the United Earth Embassy's medical wing on Ocampa Prime, Bell works with practiced precision. His hands move steadily despite the weight of Uma's presence behind him, despite the knowledge that his next actions could either revolutionize interspecies medicine or end his career and damage human-Ocampan relations permanently. The experimental treatment, a modified version of a therapy for human Werner syndrome, sits ready in its delivery chamber. Bell developed it in the embassy's medical lab over the past 12 hours, adapting human medical protocols for Ocampan biology. The similarities between Werner syndrome and temporal cellular degradation had struck him during his xenobiology residency at Harvard Medical Center, but until now, he'd never had cause to test his theories. 6-year-old Kyle's small form shows the devastating effects of TCD. His cells have aged decades in mere days, a hallmark of the disease that has maintained its perfect kill record across all documented cases. The Ocampan Medical Council stands firmly against Bell's intervention, viewing human medical procedures as dangerous at best, sacrilegious at worst. Uma's voice breaks the tense silence. "Save him." Her words carry the weight of her position as a prominent medical researcher and the desperation of a mother watching her only child slip away. Her decision to grant Bell permission for this treatment has likely cost her position on the medical council, but she stands unwavering beside the human doctor. The diplomatic implications loom large. Human-Ocampan relations, still fragile after recent technological trade disputes, balance on the outcome of this moment. The conservative Ocampan Medical Council's protests echo in Bell's mind as he positions the delivery system. Bell checks the modified treatment one final time. The synthesis process pushed the embassy's medical lab to its limits, but the result matches his calculations perfectly. Around him, the advanced medical wing's equipment hums with power, representing the best of both human and Ocampan technology. Time slows as Bell administers the first dose. The treatment enters Kyle's system, beginning either a revolutionary breakthrough in interspecies medicine or the final chapter in a tragedy that could reshape diplomatic relations between their species. The scanner continues its monotone declaration of death as Bell works, marking the beginning of the most crucial case in his 4 to 5 years of medical practice. The next few minutes will determine everything for Kyle, for Uma, for human-Ocampan relations, and for the future of interspecies medicine itself. Bell's fingers move to the second phase of treatment, his focus absolute. The scanner continues its drone, marking 3 minutes and counting of clinical death, as Bell fights to rewrite medical history 1 second at a time. The scanner's monotonous tone shifts to an irregular pattern as the treatment enters Kyle's bloodstream. Bell leans forward, his eyes fixed on the medical display. A faint pulse registers, weak but present. "Dr. Bell. Doctor." Marcus Baker's voice cuts through the tension as he enters the treatment room. The embassy's xenobiological research director moves quickly to the monitoring station, his fingers dancing across the display. Cellular degradation has slowed, but his autonomic functions are barely registering. The child's vital signs fluctuate wildly on the display. Baker adjusts the scanner's sensitivity, revealing critical instability across multiple systems. The treatment's working, but his body can't maintain basic functions. A commotion outside draws Uma's attention to the window. A crowd has gathered at the embassy gates, their voices carrying even through the reinforced walls. Ambassador Richard Harrison strides into the medical wing, his formal attire contrasting sharply with the sterile environment. "Doctor, we have a situation developing." Harrison's voice carries the weight of decades of diplomatic service. The Ocampan High Council has convened an emergency session. They're calling this an unauthorized intervention. The medical equipment surges without warning. Displays flicker, readings jump to impossible levels, and the room's temperature control system struggles to maintain stability. Uma steps closer to Kyle's bed, her eyes widening. These symptoms. She touches her son's forehead. They mirror the ancient healing trance. Our histories speak of it, but no one has witnessed it for generations. The door slides open again, revealing Chief Medical Officer Rivik. His traditional Ocampan medical robes sweep the floor as he enters, flanked by two junior council members. "This ends now, Dr. Bell. Your interference violates every principle of Ocampan medical doctrine." Rivik thrusts a data tablet forward. 15 attempts to artificially treat TCD. 15 agonizing failures. "Would you add a 16th? Doctor?" Baker's voice cuts through the tension. He gestures to his analysis display. The cellular samples show unexpected regeneration. The human treatment has triggered something in his genetic structure. The monitoring equipment surges again. Kyle's temperature spikes dangerously, and the room's environmental controls strain to compensate. Through the window, the crowd outside grows larger, more volatile. Colonel James Walker's voice crackles over the embassy's comm system. "Security alert. Multiple attempts to breach the perimeter detected, activating defensive shields." The familiar hum of the embassy's shields fills the air as they engage. Uma grips the bed rail, her nucleus tightening. The extremists sent messages. Death threats. They believe human intervention will anger our ancestral spirits. The neural monitor emits a series of irregular pulses. Baker moves closer, studying the pattern. These readings, they're not random. It's as if his consciousness is trying to interface with our equipment. Bell checks the treatment delivery system, calculating the next phase. The modified therapy continues its work, pushing against centuries of Ocampan medical tradition and the inexorable progression of TCD. Around him, the interface between human medicine and Ocampan biology creates patterns never before documented in either species' medical records. The neural patterns grow stronger, more defined. Baker adjusts the scanning frequency, revealing complex wave formations that match no known medical baseline. Through the window, the shields shimmer as they repel another attempted breach, while inside, two worlds of medical science collide in the small form of one Ocampan child. Dr. Sarah Matthews bursts through the treatment room door, her neural scanner already active in her hands. She moves directly to Baker's station, studying the complex wave patterns dancing across his display. "These neural signatures," Matthews says, her eyes tracking the oscillating patterns. "They match ceremonial recordings from the Third Dynasty. The embassy's xenocultural database has similar readings from ancient healing rituals." The medical equipment surges again. A high-pitched whine emanates from the neural monitors as Kyle's brainwave patterns intensify. Matthews adjusts her scanner's frequency range, revealing new layers of neural activity. "The child's consciousness is reaching out," she says, "interfacing with our systems in ways that mirror those historical ceremonies." A thunderous crash echoes through the embassy. Colonel Walker's voice cuts through the comm system. "Security breach in Sector 4. Multiple intruders detected using phase-shift technology." Ambassador Harrison moves to the window, watching as security teams deploy with specialized detection gear. "The situation's escalating. We've got 3 saboteurs in custody, Ocampan technicians caught trying to disable our backup generators." "Ancestral purity movement," Uma says, her voice tight. "They've been sending threats since Kyle's diagnosis." The room's lighting flickers. Baker's hands fly across his console as new data streams in. "Dr. Bell, look at this cellular analysis. The treatment isn't just working, it's being integrated. Kyle's body is adapting the human therapy, creating something entirely new." Uma's comm unit chimes. She reads the incoming message, her expression shifting. Dr. Kelmer, my old mentor, he says he has research data on human Ocampan biological compatibility. The same Dr. Kelmer the medical council expelled. Ravik asks, his tone sharp. The environmental controls sputter. A wave of hot air sweeps through the room as the atmosphere regulators struggle against an invisible force. Bakers display floods with warnings. The hybrid healing response, Bell says, moving to adjust the treatment delivery. It's generating telepathic interference. The embassy's life support systems are being affected. Colonel Walker's security teams march past the window, leading several handcuffed figures in Ocampan Defense Ministry uniforms. Harrison's comm unit lights up with urgent messages. The High Council has filed a formal protest, Harrison says, scanning the diplomatic communications. They're citing Article 7, we needed joint approval for experimental treatments. And now they're mobilizing security forces. We have less than 6 hours before they attempt a forceful intervention. Matthews focuses her neural scanner on a new pattern emerging in Kyle's brainwave activity. The integration is accelerating. Each surge affects our systems more severely. The atmosphere grows thicker as environmental controls continue to fail. Warning lights flash across every medical display. Through it all, Kyle's vital signs strengthen in their unusual pattern, his cells continuing their unprecedented adaptation of the human treatment. We need Kelmer's data, Bell says, watching as another system fails under the telepathic interference. Uma, make contact. Baker, help me modify the treatment protocol. Matthews, keep tracking those neural patterns. We have to stabilize both the patient and these systems before we lose life support entirely. The room's temperature rises another degree as Bell returns to his work, racing against multiple clocks. Kyle's condition, failing embassy systems, and the approaching Ocampan military response. Outside, Colonel Walker's voice echoes across the grounds as his teams intercept another group of face-shifted infiltrators. Ambassador Harrison moves to the door, pausing to look back at the medical team. I'll do what I can diplomatically, but our window is closing fast. Whatever you're going to accomplish here, it needs to happen soon. The neural monitors spike again as Kyle's hybrid healing response intensifies, sending another wave of interference through the embassy's struggling systems. Bell adjusts the treatment delivery, knowing each modification could either save his patient or accelerate the cascade of failures threatening them all. Uma's comm unit chimes again. Her fingers tremble as she opens Dr. Kelmer's data transmission. Dr. Bell, these readings. They're from the Third Dynasty archives. Our ancestors possessed a biological synchronization mechanism during healing processes. Baker's eyes widen as he correlates the historical data with Kyle's current readings. The interference patterns match. His body isn't fighting the treatment, it's trying to establish a biological link with our equipment. The room's temperature spikes another 3 degrees. Through the window, emergency lights paint the embassy grounds in harsh red pulses. A familiar figure sprints across the courtyard, followed by 2 security officers carrying specialized equipment. Dr. Reed, Baker says, recognizing the head of Human Ocampan Medical Relations. Reed enters the treatment room, his silver hair disheveled from the emergency transport from Earth. He moves directly to the monitoring station, unfolding a compact device from his case. The stabilization unit should contain the telepathic emissions, but will need direct neural connection. Direct neural connection. Uma steps forward. That procedure has never. The lights flicker violently. Chief Engineer Foster's voice cuts through the comm system. Medical wing, be advised. Implementing emergency containment field. You'll be on isolated life support in 30 seconds. A low hum fills the air as transparent barriers materialize around the medical wing's perimeter. The environmental controls stabilize momentarily, then fluctuate as chiral's neural patterns surge again. Ambassador. Colonel Walker's voice carries an edge of urgency. Intercepted communications confirm General Verks authorized the infiltration attempts. He's behind the sabotage teams. Harrison straightens, his diplomatic training evident in his measured response. Get me a secure channel to Counselor Dren. This changes everything. While Harrison negotiates, Reed and Bell prepare the neural interface. The stabilization unit's displays show complex wave patterns that pulse in sync with Kyle's brainwaves. Baker monitors the cellular regeneration rates, which spike dramatically as Reed positions the neural connectors. Oxygen consumption just tripled, Matthews reports, adjusting life support parameters. The healing response. It's trying to recreate specific atmospheric conditions. The stabilization unit activates with a soft pulse. Kyle's body arches slightly, and the medical displays explode with new data. A shimmer appears in the air around the bed, distorting the light. Quantum anomaly forming, Baker announces, his fingers racing across his console. The regenerative process is generating a localized temporal field. The room's structure groans as spacetime distorts around Kyle. Through the window, several vehicles approach the embassy perimeter, their outlines visible through the containment field's shimmer. Ancestral Purity Movement, Walker reports through the comm. They're carrying sonic disruptors. Foster, how long will the containment field hold? 18 hours of power reserves, Foster responds. After that, total systems failure. The temporal field expands, creating visible ripples in the air. Medical equipment begins to operate at different speeds, displays updating too quickly or too slowly, as time itself becomes unstable within the treatment room. We need to stabilize this field, Reed says, adjusting the neural interface, or terminate treatment entirely. Bell studies the readings, watching as chiral cells regenerate at impossible speeds within the temporal distortion. The stabilization unit pulses faster, struggling to contain the growing anomaly. Through the window, Walker's security teams move into defensive positions as the Ancestral Purity vehicles draw closer. Matthew's neural scanner reveals complex patterns shifting through the temporal field. The healing trance is creating a pocket of altered time, if we can't control it. The containment field flickers as another wave of telepathic energy pulses outward. Foster's voice crackles through the degrading comm system. Power reserves at 17 hours, 40 minutes. The temporal distortion is accelerating the drain. Reed adjusts the stabilization unit's frequency. We need to synchronize with the field's resonance pattern. Bell, prepare to modify the treatment delivery on my mark. The room's structure creaks again as the temporal anomaly pushes against the fabric of spacetime. Baker's displays show Kyle's cellular regeneration accelerating within the distorted field, while outside, the first sounds of sonic disruptors echo against the embassy's shields. Bell's eyes dart between Dr. Kelmer's data and the temporal distortion readings. The frequencies. They match ancient healing chamber signatures. Foster, I need shield generator modifications across the medical wing. We have to replicate these exact electromagnetic patterns. Foster's voice crackles through the deteriorating comm system. Sending engineering teams now. What parameters? Bell transmits the frequency data. The temporal field pulses, warping the air around Kyle's bed. Reed's specialized equipment emits a series of rapid beeps, drawing Matthew's attention. These neural patterns, she says, adjusting her scanner. Kyle's consciousness is reaching into our computer systems. Baker moves to a secondary console, tracking the digital intrusion. The telepathic signals match embassy processing protocols. He's interfacing directly with our quantum core. Matthews pulls up historical records on her display. Third Dynasty healers demonstrated similar abilities during deep healing trances, if we integrate the quantum core with our medical systems. Do it, Bell orders, watching as Kyle's vital signs fluctuate within the temporal distortion. Colonel Walker enters, his uniform showing signs of recent combat. Ambassador, we have confirmation. General Verks is positioning military units around the perimeter, claims it's for biohazard containment. Lieutenant Commander Torres follows him, holding a data tablet. Sir, intercepted communications indicate a broader plan. Verks intends to use this crisis to move against moderate council members. Harrison activates a secure channel. Get me strategic command. Request immediate deployment of the 7th Fleet to nearby space. The room's lighting dims as another power surge ripples through the embassy's systems. Foster's voice carries an edge of desperation. Power reserves critical. We can't maintain both defensive systems and the electromagnetic field. Reroute power from defense to medical, Bell says. We need 8 more hours to complete this phase of treatment. That leaves us exposed to Walker starts. Do it, Harrison cuts in. We've come too far to stop now. Baker's console lights up with new cellular data. Doctor, these readings. Kyle's adaptation could prevent TCD in future generations. His body is developing a natural resistance. A flash of light fills the room as an emergency transport materializes. Dr. Victor Hammond steps out, his silver hair reflecting the pulsing emergency lights. Those cellular changes could be the key to treating genetic disorders across multiple species. He moves to Baker's station, reviewing the data. My research team has documented similar patterns in multiple transport signatures appear in the courtyard. Walker raises his weapon, but Uma steps forward. Wait, that's Dr. Kelmer. Through the window, the elderly Ocampan scientist leads a group of young medical practitioners toward the embassy entrance. Behind them, more Ocampans gather, many wearing medical insignias. The younger generation, Uma says. They're choosing sides. The temporal field expands again as Foster's teams complete the shield modifications. Kyle's vital signs stabilize under the new electromagnetic frequencies. Reed adjusts his equipment, synchronizing with the enhanced field. Power reserves at 30%, Foster reports. Estimated 6 hours remaining at current consumption rate. Outside, the gathering crowd of young Ocampan medical staff faces off against Verks's approaching military units. Dr. Kelmer enters the treatment room, moving straight to Bell's station. The historical frequencies, Kelmer says, reviewing the readings. You've recreated them perfectly. Now we must maintain stability until a violent tremor shakes the building. The temporal field fluctuates wildly as power systems struggle to compensate. Through the window, Verks's forces deploy energy barrier generators, creating a secondary containment zone around the embassy. Baker's displays fill with warning indicators as Kyle's neural patterns surge again. The quantum core integration protocols activate, attempting to stabilize the expanding temporal anomaly. Reed's stabilization unit pulses rapidly, fighting to contain the cascading effects. Power reserves at 25%, Foster announces. Temporal field affecting consumption rates exponentially. Kelmer moves to Uma's station, his aged hands flying across the controls. The ancient chambers used crystalline resonance matrices to sustain similar fields, if we can adapt our modern equipment. The quantum core's processing speed spikes as Kyle's consciousness pushes deeper into the embassy's systems. Matthews tracks the neural interfaces, while Hammond analyzes the evolving cellular data. Above them, the temporal field continues to twist space and time around their young patient, as all of their efforts race against the embassy's dwindling power reserves. Foster's voice cut through the chaos with sudden urgency. Implementing emergency power solution. All personnel clear engineering section Delta. His fingers danced across his control panel, initiating a direct antimatter feed to the medical wing's power systems. Warning indicators flashed across every screen as safety protocols disengaged. Foster, those connections weren't designed for Walker started. No choice, Colonel, bypassing standard containment. The engineer's voice remained steady as he channeled the raw power through reinforced conduits. The lights stabilized, and the temporal field's erratic fluctuations smoothed into a steady pulse. A new transport signature materialized in the center of the room. Doctor. James Hawthorne emerged, his weathered face registering immediate concern at the complex web of temporal distortions surrounding Kyle's bed. He moved swiftly to unpack a series of cylindrical devices from his case. Prototype cellular stabilizers, he explained, positioning the equipment, designed specifically for temporal biological interface scenarios. His eyes tracked the spreading network of microfractures appearing in the medical wing's walls, though I've never tested them under conditions this extreme. Baker helped Hawthorne calibrate the stabilizers while Matthews adjusted her neural scanners. Doctor, Kyle's consciousness is pushing deeper into our systems. Security protocols are activating randomly across the facility. Colonel Walker activated his comm. Rodriguez, report to medical immediately. We need cyber containment. Beyond the embassy's walls, the distinct whine of sonic weapons pierced the air. Ambassador Harrison's communication panel lit up with urgent signals. Admiral Marcus Baker, 7th Fleet Command, a stern voice announced. 3 battle groups have established orbital positions. Awaiting your instructions, Ambassador. Harrison studied the tactical display showing Verx's forces engaging Loyalist security units around the embassy perimeter. Maintain current positions, Admiral. Let's see how many of the General's supporters appreciate the implied message. Several clusters of indicators on the tactical display winked out as Verx's outer units withdrew. Walker's automated defense drones established a neutral zone perimeter, their sensors tracking the remaining hostile forces. Inside the treatment room, the air temperature spiked dramatically. Kyle's skin radiated visible heat as his enhanced cellular regeneration accelerated. Cryogenic coolant, Bell ordered. Full dispersal. Frigid mist flooded the chamber as Dr. Kelmer and Baker worked to integrate Hawthorne stabilizers with traditional Acampan healing frequencies. The combined energy signatures created complex interference patterns that Baker tracked with growing excitement. These cellular formations, he said, they're specifically targeting genetic damage. The regenerative process has evolved beyond simple healing. Lieutenant Rodriguez arrived at Matthews Station, his cybersecurity interface already active. Neural patterns are compromising automated systems throughout the embassy. We need to establish containment protocols without disrupting the medical interface. Uma's comm unit chimed with an encrypted message. Her face paled as she decoded the contents. Ambassador, the ancestral purity movement has acquired quantum resonance weapons. They're preparing to destabilize the temporal field. Harrison nodded to Walker. Implement full defensive measures. Authorization code Alpha 7 Delta. Sir, that level of defense will be seen as implement. Walker activated previously hidden weapon systems throughout the embassy's exterior. Advanced shield generators hummed to life as metamaterial armor plates emerged from concealed housings. The temporal field's expansion stressed the building's structure. Support beams groaned under the dimensional strain. Foster directed his engineering teams to install experimental nanocarbon bracing, their specialized equipment leaving trails of microscopic reinforcement throughout the medical wing's framework. 12 hours, Foster announced, reviewing structural analysis data. After that, even the nanocarbon won't hold. Dr. Hammond's genetic scanner emitted a series of urgent alerts. He moved quickly between the Acampan medical staff, confirming readings with growing concern. DNA modification in progress, he reported. Kyle's healing response is affecting nearby Acampan genetic structures. He activated additional containment measures. We need to establish a genetic isolation field while continuing treatment. The quantum core's processing speed surged as Kyle's consciousness probed deeper into the embassy's systems. Rodriguez and Matthews worked in tandem, attempting to channel the neural interface away from critical systems while maintaining the vital medical connections. Temperature regulators struggled against the combined heat of Kyle's accelerated healing and the antimatter power feed. Ice crystals formed and instantly melted on the treatment room's walls as cryogenic coolant battled the rising thermal levels. Through it all, the temporal field continued its steady pulse, maintained by the dangerous but necessary power modification that kept their mission alive. The temporal field's steady pulse continued as Foster analyzed the cascading power readings on his display. Warning indicators flashed across every screen, showing critical drain from multiple systems. "Ambassador," Foster said, "we need to implement emergency power redistribution. Non-essential systems are draining resources we can't spare." Harrison nodded. "Do what's necessary." Foster's fingers flew across his console, initiating controlled shutdowns throughout the embassy. Life support systems in unoccupied sections powered down, lighting dimmed to emergency levels. Environmental controls shifted to minimal settings. "Reading power stabilization," Foster reported. "Redirecting saved energy to medical operations." Dr. Hawthorne's diagnostic equipment emitted a sharp alert. He moved to Kyle's bedside, studying the readouts with growing concern. Cell degradation detected in the peripheral nervous system. The stabilization effect is weakening. Dr. Bell reviewed the data, his expression grim. "The current protocol won't maintain cellular integrity." He activated a secondary display, pulling up genetic data. "We need to strengthen his regenerative response." The embassy's industrial replicators could manufacture synthetic stem cells, a human Ocampan hybrid. "That level of genetic manipulation," Dr. Hammond started, "is our only option," Bell finished. "Baker, help me program the genetic parameters." Colonel Walker's comm unit activated. "Colonel, Security Chief Roberts reporting. We've detected quantum tunneling signatures below the embassy." "Source: ancient maintenance tunnels, sir. Infiltrators are using them to bypass our perimeter. We're sealing access points, but we're stretched thin." The room's doors slid open as Commander David Anderson entered, his medical corps insignia gleaming under the emergency lights. "Dr. Bell, we have a situation. The Interstellar Scientific Ethics Committee is sending investigators. They're citing regulations on unauthorized genetic experimentation." "We can't stop now," Bell said, continuing his work on the stem cell parameters. "Kyle won't survive a treatment interruption." Baker's quantum sensors registered a new pattern. "Ambassador, the temporal field's resonance. It matches band Ocampan weapon frequencies." Verks could use this as justification for a containment operation. Uma's communication panel lit up with an encrypted transmission. She decoded it quickly, her eyes widening. "Dr. Kelmer, your earlier TCD trials, they worked. The medical council suppressed the data." Kelmer moved to her station. "The archives contain proof, but accessing them during this upheaval would provide legal precedent for continuing treatment," Harrison finished. He turned to Walker. "Colonel, we need a team to retrieve that data." The industrial replicator hummed to life, beginning stem cell production. Dr. Bell monitored the process while Matthews adjusted the genetic containment field. The hybrid cells formed in the synthesis chamber, their structure displaying unusual properties. "Telepathic activity detected in the synthetic cells," Rodriguez reported from his cybersecurity station. "They're amplifying Kyle's neural interface." Baker rushed to reinforce the quantum shielding as new alarms activated throughout the medical wing. The hybrid cells pulsed with unexpected energy, their enhanced properties threatening to overwhelm the containment systems. "We need to stabilize these cells before administration," Bell said, adjusting genetic parameters. "Foster, can you strengthen the quantum barriers?" Implementing emergency shield modifications now, Foster responded, his engineering teams working to contain the growing telepathic interference. Through the window, Professor Jareth led a group of Ocampan scientists toward the embassy entrance. Security drones parted to allow their passage as Walker's teams verified their credentials. The Scientific Academy's endorsement, Harrison said, reviewing their transmitted statement. This changes the political equation. The synthetic cells continued their development as Bell's team worked to control their enhanced properties. Power reserves dwindled despite Foster's conservation efforts. Outside, Verx's forces maintained their position while the 7th Fleet held orbital station. Inside the treatment room, human and Ocampan medical staff raced to complete their work as the temporal field pulsed steadily around them. Baker's sensors detected new quantum tunneling signatures. Robert's security teams moved to intercept more infiltrators in the maintenance tunnels. The genetic containment field fluctuated as power systems struggled to maintain multiple critical operations. Through it all, Chiron's vital signs remained stable, his enhanced consciousness still reaching into the embassy's systems as the treatment continued. Foster's eyes locked onto his monitoring display as power consumption metrics spiraled into critical ranges. The synthetic stem cell production facility drew unprecedented amounts of energy, threatening to overwhelm the embassy's already strained systems. "Ambassador, we need additional power sources immediately," Foster said, bringing up a holographic schematic. "I can establish quantum-tethered power relays to the Earth Defense Force vessels in orbit." Harrison studied the proposed connections. "Has this been tested?" "No, sir, but the theoretical framework is sound. We're out of options." "Proceed." Foster's engineering teams deployed specialized quantum anchors across the embassy's roof. The devices activated, creating invisible energy bridges to the orbiting vessels. Power readings stabilized, but Foster's expression remained tense as he monitored the complex energy flow. "Doctor." Bell stumbled, pressing his hand against the wall. Around him, other medical staff displayed similar signs of distress. Matthews rubbed her temples, blinking rapidly against sudden visual distortions that warped the medical displays. "Telepathic feedback," Dr. Wang announced, entering the treatment room with a case of neural dampeners. The embassy's chief psychiatrist quickly distributed the devices. "These are modified deep space units. They'll shield you from the worst effects while maintaining necessary cognitive function." Baker adjusted his dampener. The visual artifacts are clearing. Colonel Walker's tactical display lit up with multiple subsurface anomalies. Security teams detecting quantum signature bombs throughout the lower levels. Ancestral purity movement design. "Those devices will disrupt our entire electromagnetic containment system," Foster warned. Walker activated his comm. "Master Sergeant Roberts, deploy combat engineers. Locate and neutralize those devices." In the treatment room, Dr. Bell's expression darkened as he reviewed the latest cellular analysis. First batch showing rejection markers. The synthetic stem cells aren't viable. "The protein structure," Hawthorne said, examining the data. "There's a crucial element missing from the template." Dr. Kelmer accessed her secured files. The Medical Council vault contains preserved samples with the complete protein chain. "But Verx's forces. We need those samples," Bell insisted. Harrison turned to his security chief. "Lieutenant Commander Torres, assemble a team. Covert retrieval operation." Torres nodded, already selecting personnel as he headed for the tactical room. The building shuddered as Admiral Baker's atmospheric intervention units established their position. Warning klaxons sounded as Ocampan orbital platforms activated automated defense protocols. 3 Ocampan defense fleets emerged from hyperspace, weapons charged. "Admiral," Harrison contacted the 7th Fleet Command. "Maintain current positions, but do not escalate." Dr. Baker's quantum scanner emitted a series of irregular pulses. He adjusted the frequency, revealing complex neural patterns emanating from Chiral. These frequencies, Matthews said, comparing the readings to historical records, they match ancient healing ceremonies. Bell modified the treatment protocols, integrating traditional elements with their advanced procedures. The temporal field intensified, its purple-tinged energy casting strange shadows across the medical equipment. Foster's engineering displays erupted with new warnings as gravitational distortions rippled through the embassy structure. Medical instruments shifted on their tables, their calibrations disrupted by localized gravity fluctuations. Emergency transport arriving, Walker announced as Dr. Petrov materialized in the engineering section. The quantum engineering core director immediately began analyzing the power relay system. The gravitational effects are a cascade reaction, Petrov explained, making rapid adjustments to the quantum tethers. We need to realign the power stream's quantum signature. Hawthorne's cellular stabilizers pulsed with successful integration, but the victory was short-lived. His monitoring equipment detected an unexpected energy signature spreading through the containment field. The telepathic emissions, he announced. They're carrying genetic information. Everyone within range could be affected. Expanding containment protocols, Matthews responded, redirecting power to the isolation fields. The reinforced walls groaned under the increasing temporal stress as the medical team raced to complete their work. Foster's power management systems tracked the complex flow of energy from the orbital vessels, the delicate balance threatening to destabilize with each new demand on the embassy's resources. Combat engineers continued their sweep of the lower levels, racing against time to locate the quantum signature bombs before they could activate. Through it all, Chiral remained unconscious, his enhanced consciousness reaching deeper into the embassy's systems as human and Ocampan medical teams worked to save his life. The temporal field's purple glow intensified, casting strange shadows across the determined faces of those fighting to maintain control of the escalating situation. "Ambassador, Doctor." Hawthorne called out, his eyes fixed on the enhanced cellular display. These readings, the neural structures in Chiral's peripheral system are evolving. They're adopting human-like patterns. Dr. Bell moved to examine the readouts. Extraordinary. The hybrid healing response is integrating human neurological architecture. He activated his comm unit. Emergency transport authorization. Bring in Dr. Nathan Parker from Mars Medical. We need his xenoneurology expertise. A sharp crack echoed through the embassy as structural supports groaned under increasing temporal stress. Foster's engineering displays lit up with critical warnings. Main support columns showing microfractures, Foster reported. Implementing quantum-locked reinforcement. He directed his engineering teams to begin installing the experimental support beams, their crystalline surfaces gleaming under the emergency lights. Tor's voice came through the tactical channel. "Ambassador, we've reached the medical council vault." Background noise indicated his team was bypassing security systems. "Sir, we found Dr. Petrov. He's alive." Harrison exchanged surprised looks with Walker. "Confirm identity and extract both targets." "Stealth signatures detected," Walker's security officer announced. "Multiple vessels approaching on attack vectors. Rigelian configuration." Walker activated the tactical display. "Admiral, we have incoming mercenary craft. Request orbital support for containment only." Dr. Baker's quantum scanner emitted an urgent alert. Under the microscope, the hybrid stem cells developed crystalline formations within their nuclei, each structure pulsing with telepathic energy. "Containment field at 87% capacity and falling," Matthews reported. "Begin production of modified neural suppressants," Bell ordered. "Repurpose the pharmaceutical fabrication systems." Dr. Parker will need clean readings when he arrives. The embassy's structure vibrated as Foster's teams installed the quantum lock supports. Each beam required precise calibration to avoid disrupting the power grid. Power Relay 7 showing critical stress, Foster called out. Initiating zero-point tap. He activated the prototype system, watching as new energy readings stabilized their failing grid. Warning: detecting quantum fluctuations in the power stream. A flash of light heralded Dr. Parker's arrival. The xenoneurologist immediately unpacked his specialized equipment, connecting neural mapping arrays to the medical systems. These structures, Parker said, examining the latest scans. They're not just similar to human patterns, they're creating entirely new neural pathways. Dr. Kelmer's station activated with a priority alert. Doctor, these genetic sequences, they match ancient medical records. Our ancestors could naturally resist TCD. Harrison's secure channel lit up with an encrypted warning from Earth. He decoded it quickly, his expression hardening. Colonel, Verx has acquired quantum destabilization weapons. Activate countermeasure protocols. The embassy's hidden defense systems powered up as Walker's teams tracked the approaching mercenary vessels. Outside, Admiral Baker's ships adjusted formation to create a defensive screen without appearing overtly hostile. Containment field fluctuation. Matthews called out as another crystal formed in the hybrid cells. Telepathic emissions increasing exponentially. Parker adjusted his neural mapping equipment. The new pathways are accelerating. This isn't just healing, its evolution in real time. Foster's zero-point tap crackled with energy as quantum fluctuations rippled through the power grid. His engineers worked frantically to maintain stability as the temporal field's purple glow intensified around them. Dr. Bell, Parker said, examining the latest neural data, these adaptations, they're permanent. If we complete this treatment, we're not just saving one child. We're proving Ocampan biology can be fundamentally altered. A thunderous crack echoed through the facility as another support beam stressed under temporal distortion. Foster's teams rushed to install the next quantum lock support, while Walker's security forces tracked multiple incoming threats. Through it all, Kyle remained unconscious, his enhanced brain patterns creating ripples of telepathic energy that tested the limits of their containment systems. A surge of energy pulsed through Foster's zero-point tap, sending cascading failures through the power distribution network. Emergency klaxons blared as the quantum fluctuations threatened to destabilize the entire system. Emergency transport incoming, Walker announced as a figure materialized in the engineering section. Dr. Jason Miller strode forward, his weathered face creased with concentration as he assessed the failing power grid. Those fluctuations will tear the system apart, Miller said, unpacking his prototype quantum stabilizers. We need to modulate the energy flow immediately. Foster and Miller worked in synchronized precision, installing the stabilizers at critical junction points. The devices activated with a low hum, their internal matrices adjusting to match the chaotic energy patterns. Quantum stability rising, Foster reported, watching the power metrics normalize. We're achieving harmonic resonance with the temporal field. The tactical display lit up as Tor's team emerged from the medical council facility. Package secured, Tor's transmitted. Dr. Petrov is providing critical intel. Dr. Petrov's voice came through the channel, strained but urgent. The destabilization weapons Verx modified them using our medical technology. They're calibrated to target Chiral's temporal frequency. Walker's fingers flew across the tactical console, adjusting defensive parameters, recalibrating embassy shields to match the harmonic profile. In the medical wing, Parker's neural mapping equipment emitted a series of rapid alerts. The holographic display showed intricate patterns forming within Chiral's brain structure, complex neural pathways lighting up in unprecedented configurations. These processing speeds are off the charts, Parker announced, adjusting his instruments. The hybrid pathways are operating beyond known parameters. Convert the main computer core, Bell ordered. We need a neural buffer before those pathways overload. Engineering teams rushed to reconfigure the embassy's quantum processors, creating new neural interfaces to handle the excess cognitive load. The computer systems pulsed with activity as Chiral's enhanced brain patterns flowed through the facility's processors. A priority transport beam deposited 3 figures in the observation room. Ambassador Harrison turned to face the new arrivals. The Interstellar Ethics Committee members stood examining the scene with critical eyes. Dr. Bell, Dr. Wilson stepped forward. We require immediate documentation of all experimental procedures. Sending complete logs now, Bell responded, never taking his eyes off the medical readouts. But we cannot pause treatment. The embassy's structure groaned as fractures appeared in the quantum lock supports. Foster diverted power from the shield generators, creating a web of energy that wrapped around the failing beams. Shield coverage at 60%, Walker reported. His tactical display highlighted multiple approaching signatures. Stealth drones detected, carrying quantum resonance bombs. The Mark VII combat drones launched from concealed bays, their quantum disruption fields creating ripples in the air as they moved to intercept the threat. Walker's display tracked the engagement, showing the prototype units systematically neutralizing the incoming attackers. Crystalline network expanding, Hawthorne announced, examining cellular scans. The structures are creating a natural TCD defense system. Matthews adjusted the containment protocols, ensuring the crystalline formations remained isolated. Outside the embassy, General Verx's forces positioned their quantum pulse generators, disguised as medical equipment. Detecting interference patterns, Walker said. They're targeting Chiral's temporal field. Admiral Baker's voice came through the tactical channel. Counterpulse grid active. 7th Fleet shield generators providing coverage. Commander Anderson's medical station registered atmospheric changes as specialized particles filled the medical wing. The air took on a strange, shimmering quality reminiscent of ancient healing chambers. Modifying life support systems, Foster called out, his hands moving across multiple control interfaces. Maintaining power balance through the stabilized tap. Miller's quantum stabilizers pulsed with increasing frequency as they handled the massive energy transfers. The temporal field's purple glow intensified around Chiral's unconscious form, as human and Ocampan medical teams worked to maintain the delicate balance of power, medicine, and technology that kept him alive. Through the neural interface, Chiral's enhanced consciousness continued to reach deeper into the embassy's systems, his hybrid brain processing information at speeds that pushed the quantum processors to their limits. The crystalline network throughout his body grew more complex with each passing moment, creating new patterns that defied conventional medical understanding. Quantum variants detected in the 0-point tap, Foster announced, his eyes fixed on the rapidly changing power signatures. The readouts displayed unusual radiation patterns emanating from the experimental power source. Dr. Miller pushed past 2 engineering technicians, his quantum scanner tracking the energy fluctuations. These aren't destabilization signatures, they're harmonic resonances. He adjusted the scanner's frequency. The radiation is actually reinforcing Chiral's temporal field. Foster's fingers flew across the control interface, initiating emergency modification of power distribution systems. We need quantum resonance amplifiers installed at these junction points. He transmitted the specifications to the fabrication units. In the medical wing, crystalline formations spread through Chiral's neural pathways, their structure visible through Dr. Parker's advanced imaging equipment. The crystalline networks are creating biological bridges, Parker said, adjusting the neural mapping array. His systems are processing both human and Ocampan medical protocols simultaneously. A transport beam illuminated the medical bay. Dr. Marcus Reynolds materialized with 3 cases of specialized equipment, his experienced hands already unpacking advanced biomonitors. "These readings are unprecedented," he said, connecting his systems to the existing arrays. "The crystal structures are self-organizing into completely new configurations. Multiple phase shifts detected." Security Chief Roberts's voice cut through the tactical channel. "Rigelian signatures confirmed we have stealth-equipped infiltrators inside the perimeter." Colonel Walker activated the tactical display. "Deploy face detection units to all critical sectors. Authorization for maximum force against hostile targets." Security teams moved through the lower levels, their experimental sensors revealing shimming distortions where infiltrators attempted to breach internal barriers. Weapons fire erupted near the maintenance access points. Walker's teams engaged the partially visible Rigelian mercenaries, face disruption beams cutting through the advanced stealth technology. Tours to command. "We're cut off in the maintenance tunnels," the lieutenant commander's voice crackled through interference. "Verx's forces have deployed energy barriers. Wait." Background noise indicated movement. "Dr. Petrov has located some kind of control center, ancient Akampan design. Those stations contain master overrides," Dr. Petrov's voice followed. "Lieutenant Torres is attempting to reactivate the systems now." A deep vibration shook the embassy as quantum lock supports generated interference patterns with Chiral's expanding field. Foster accessed the industrial replicator controls. "Beginning emergency fabrication of nanocarbon struts. Teams standby for precision installation." Engineering crews moved with practiced efficiency, replacing compromised supports while monitoring structural integrity levels. Each new strut adjusted its molecular structure to compensate for the temporal distortions. Ambassador Harrison's secure channel activated. "Admiral, we have confirmation Verx has activated 3 planetary defense platforms. They're citing genetic experimentation protocols." "Understood," Admiral Baker responded. "Positioning electronic warfare vessels now. Will maintain defensive coverage without escalating." Dr. Hawthorne's medical station emitted a priority alert. "The crystalline structures are producing specialized proteins," she reported, examining the cellular data. "These compounds could permanently prevent TCD." The power grid fluctuated as the protein production generated intense energy signatures. Foster diverted power through secondary systems, balancing critical loads while maintaining essential medical support. A second transport beam deposited Dr. James Morrison in the medical wing. The xenogenetic expert immediately began reviewing Dr. Bell's treatment protocols, comparing them to his theoretical models. "These procedures align perfectly with my research," Morrison said, examining the latest results. "The crystalline formations are exceeding all projected efficiency rates." The embassy's tactical sensors registered a massive power surge from the nearby military complex. "Energy buildup detected at the research center," Walker reported. "Signatures match prototype quantum destabilization weapons." Foster's engineering displays showed critical power fluctuations as the medical team accelerated their treatment procedures. The nanocarbon struts creaked under increasing temporal stress, while security teams engaged more infiltrators in the lower levels. Through it all, Chiral's enhanced consciousness continued integrating with the embassy's systems, his hybrid neural network processing data at speeds that pushed their quantum computers to their absolute limits. The purple glow of the temporal field cast strange shadows across the medical bay as human and Akampan scientists raced to complete their treatment protocols before Verx could bring his prototype weapon online. A piercing alarm cut through the medical bay as Foster's power management system detected a critical frequency match. "The prototype cannon's output matches our 0-point tap signature," he announced, fingers dancing across multiple control interfaces. Resonance patterns building in the primary grid. Dr. Miller rushed to the nearest quantum stabilizer, his diagnostic tool already scanning the device's internal matrix. "We can reverse the polarity cascade," he said, making precise adjustments to the stabilizer's quantum core. "Their weapon will feed directly into our power grid." The embassy shuddered as another blast struck the shields. Miller connected his diagnostic tool to the remaining stabilizers, transmitting the modified frequency patterns. The devices hummed at a higher pitch as they began absorbing and converting the incoming energy. "Power levels rising," Foster reported. "Quantum conversion at 87% efficiency." Dr. Petrov limped to the nearest medical console, his face pale but determined. "Verx's research logs," he said, transmitting data from a secured device. He discovered quantum resonance patterns that amplify Ocampan's cellular regeneration. Dr. Bell examined the incoming data, his expression sharpening with interest. These pulse frequencies matched natural healing harmonics. He adjusted several treatment parameters on his medical interface, initiating controlled quantum stimulation. The nanocarbon struts throughout the medical wing creaked ominously, their molecular structure warping under the combined stress of temporal distortions and weapons fire. A transport beam deposited Colonel Thompson and his engineering team in the corridor outside. "Deploy Mark III support drones," Thompson ordered, activating a series of hovering devices. The drones spread through the medical wing, attaching themselves to critical structural points. Their adaptive fields pulsed in rhythm with the temporal fluctuations, strengthening the compromised supports. Lieutenant Tor's voice crackled through the tactical channel. "Ancient security station online, but we've triggered some kind of alert beacon." Colonel Walker coordinated with the fleet through his tactical display. "Admiral Baker's electronic warfare platforms are creating a null zone around your position. Maintain control of those systems." The ethics committee members huddled around Dr. Morrison's workstation, examining classified medical files he had just received from Earth Command. "These treatments, Dr. Wilson said, they match documented successes with similar genetic conditions. Transmitting validation protocols to the High Council now," Morrison added. "This falls under Section 7 of the Cooperative Medical Research Treaty." Dr. Reynolds's biomonitors emitted a series of urgent alerts. "Neural interface forming between the crystalline structures and our quantum processors," he reported, adjusting his scanning equipment. "The pathways are self-organizing into a coherent network." Foster diverted power to the medical wing's processor banks. "Dr. Parker, help me stabilize these connections. We might be able to use this to control the temporal field." "Phase shift detected in sections 12 through 15, Walker announced. His security teams activated containment fields, trapping several shimming figures between dimensional states. One of the captured Rigelians spoke quickly, his partially phased form flickering. "3 more teams approaching through the subbasement. They have quantum disruptors." Ambassador Harrison's comm channel activated. "Admiral Baker reports orbital deployment patterns consistent with a quantum containment strategy. They're trying to cut off our power supply." "Authorizing special weapons release," Baker's voice responded. "Quantum field projectors deploying from heavy cruisers Sierra and Tango." In the medical bay, Kyle's body glowed with increasing intensity. Dr. Bell studied the readings from multiple diagnostic systems, noting the spreading quantum field generated by the child's enhanced healing response. "The field could stabilize the entire facility," Bell said, "but we'll need precise synchronization across all systems." Foster accessed the master control interface. "Beginning power grid calibration. All teams prepare for simultaneous field integration on my mark." The engineering crews positioned themselves at key power junctions, while medical staff adjusted their equipment settings. Outside, Weapons fire continued to light up the embassy shields as Thompson's drones adapted to each new structural stress pattern. The quantum stabilizers pulsed with converted energy from Verx's cannon, feeding power into the carefully balanced systems. Through it all, Chiral's crystalline neural network expanded, creating new connections with the embassy's quantum processors. Field synchronization in 10 seconds, Foster announced, his hands hovering over the final control sequence. The various teams watched their instruments, ready to integrate the child's quantum field with the embassy's systems. Integration commencing, Foster announced, activating the final sequence. The quantum field emanating from Chiral's body pulsed with increasing intensity, spreading throughout the embassy's power distribution network in waves of purple-tinged energy. Field harmonic stabilizing, Miller reported, his eyes fixed on the quantum stabilizer readouts. The child's temporal signature is synchronizing with our zero-point tap. His fingers danced across the controls, adjusting frequencies to match the natural resonance patterns, converting to automated tracking. The stabilizers hummed at a new frequency as they adapted to the merged fields. Foster's engineering displays showed power levels evening out across all systems, the previous fluctuations smoothing into steady operational curves. Emergency transport complete, Dr. Parker announced as a new figure materialized in the medical bay. Dr. Howard Mitchell stepped off the transport pad, already unpacking his specialized crystalline scanning equipment. Status update, Mitchell asked, connecting his devices to the medical arrays. Dr. Bell gestured to the spreading crystalline formations visible through their imaging systems. Neural crystal growth accelerating beyond projected parameters. We're detecting formation of secondary nervous system pathways. Mitchell's scanners projected detailed holographic models of the crystal structures. These patterns they're creating quantum-capable neural networks, a biological quantum computer. He adjusted his scanning resolution. The integration rate is remarkable. Colonel Thompson's voice cut through the tactical channel, structural integrity improving. The quantum field is reinforcing our nanocarbon supports. His drones adjusted their positions, their adaptive fields pooling in harmony with the strengthened building framework. Power draw increasing, Foster noted, redistributing energy through secondary systems, maintaining critical balance between structural reinforcement and medical support. Multiple quantum surges detected. Walker's security teams transmitted sensor data from the perimeter. Enemy forces deploying field synchronizers at coordinates marked 12 through 20. Dr. Petrov limped to the nearest tactical display, examining the sensor readings. Those devices they match classified specs from Verx's weapons program. He's attempting to seize control of our quantum field. Lieutenant Tor's voice crackled through the interference. Command, we've located technical archives in the ancient security station. Sending data now. Historical schematics filled the medical bay's displays, showing crystalline healing chambers from Ocampan medical facilities. Alert from Earth Diplomatic Corps, Ambassador Harrison announced through the command channel. The High Council is convening an emergency session. Elder Darius is presenting evidence of Verx's illegal weapons development. New alarms sounded from Dr. Bell's medical station. Quantum-sensitive cell formation detected, he reported as another transport beam deposited Dr. Thomas Anderson in the medical wing. Anderson immediately accessed the cellular monitoring systems. These new cells are generating localized temporal fields. He initiated specialized containment protocols. We need to stabilize these formations before they affect facility temporal integrity. Foster's engineering displays flashed red. Quantum containment field forming in upper atmosphere, initiating shield modifications. He transmitted commands to the embassy's classified field projectors. Coordinating with Admiral Baker's electronic warfare platforms. The building vibrated as protective fields engaged, creating a dome of shimmering energy that connected with the 7th Fleet's defensive network. Verx's containment field scattered against the reinforced barriers. In the medical bay, equipment sparked with quantum feedback as Chiral's enhanced healing field began merging with the surrounding technology. Crystalline formations spread through neural interfaces, while doctors rushed to maintain treatment stability. Biological technical integration accelerating, Dr. Mitchell reported, his specialized sensors tracking the merge rate. These crystal structures are creating entirely new types of quantum circuits. Anderson adjusted several critical treatment parameters, cellular temporal field generation stabilizing, establishing containment boundaries now. The embassy's merged quantum field pulsed with new energy as Chiral's healing response continued evolving, forcing the medical and engineering teams to adapt their procedures with each passing moment. Through it all, Foster's power management systems maintained their delicate balance, while Walker's security teams prepared to defend against Verx's next assault. Foster's monitoring systems lit up with an unexpected surge of data. The quantum field emanating from Chiral pulsed at a precise frequency that matched the embassy's processing cores. "Dr. Miller, are you seeing this?" Foster transmitted the readings to the nearest quantum stabilizer station. Miller's fingers flew across the controls. The resonance patterns they're self-synchronizing. He initiated a series of rapid adjustments to the stabilizer array, implementing modified harmonic protocols. The stabilizers hummed at a new pitch as Miller's modifications took effect, creating a sustainable energy loop between Chiral's field and the embassy's systems. The strain on the power grid decreased measurably as the feedback cycle stabilized. A transport beam materialized in the command center, depositing Commander Marcus Blackwood. He strode directly to Colonel Walker's tactical station, inserting a secured data crystal into the classified interface. "General Verx's containment field isn't just an attack strategy," Blackwood said, bringing up encrypted technical specifications. "It's a weapons test designed to capture and replicate Ocampan healing frequencies." Walker activated additional security protocols, sealing off data connections to the medical wing. Chief Roberts, deploy quantum-shielded barriers around all medical systems. No data leaves those rooms without triple authentication. In the medical bay, Dr. Mitchell's crystalline scanners projected new holographic models of Chiral's neural structure. "The formation pattern," he said, adjusting the resolution. "It's replicating ancient Ocampan medical technology at the cellular level." The emergency transport system activated again, materializing Dr. William Hawkins next to Mitchell's workstation. Hawkins immediately connected his specialized diagnostic equipment to the medical arrays. "The crystal matrices are forming quantum-capable biocircuits," Hawkins said, examining the data streams. "We need to stabilize these pathways before they overload the embassy's processors." Colonel Thompson's drones adapted to the strengthening quantum field, their manufacturing units activating. Streams of nanocarbon material flowed from the devices, forming new support structures throughout the embassy. "Structural integrity improving," Thompson reported. "But these energy signatures are visible to external sensors." Lieutenant Tor's voice cut through the tactical channel, sending critical data from the ancient archives. "Found complete schematics of original healing chamber power systems." Foster integrated the historical data into his power management algorithms. The embassy's energy distribution smoothed out as he optimized the grid pathways. "Power efficiency increased by 23%, he announced. "Dr. Bell, you have additional capacity for medical systems." Multiple sensor alerts flashed across Walker's tactical displays. "Quantum surge weapons detected at coordinates 30 through 45, he reported. "Roberts, deploy the experimental dampening fields." Shimmering barriers of energy formed around key sections of the embassy as Roberts activated the new defensive systems. The quantum dampening fields disrupted enemy scans, but also created interference patterns on internal sensors. Switching to visual monitoring protocols, Roberts announced. Security teams maintain direct line of sight on all access points. Dr. Reynolds's biomonitors detected increasing concentrations of quantum-sensitive cellular material around Chiral. Dr. Anderson rushed to implement containment measures, activating specially calibrated force fields around the medical bay. Cellular stabilization at 60%, Anderson reported, adjusting the containment parameters. Dr. Bell, we need additional power for these fields. Ambassador Harrison received new tactical data from the fleet. Admiral Baker reports enemy quantum synchronizers being positioned in standard Ocampan capture formation. Confirmed, Walker said, examining the tactical overlay. Repositioning defense teams to counter expected assault vectors. He transmitted new coordinates to the security stations as Hawkins worked to stabilize the growing bioquantum network. The crystalline neural pathways throughout Chiral's body pulsed with increasing regularity. Hawkins monitored the integration rate while making precise adjustments to prevent system overloads in the embassy's quantum cores. Neural network approaching stable configuration, Dr. Bell announced, studying the latest medical scans. Maintaining current treatment protocols. The merged quantum fields continued to pulse through the embassy's systems, as both medical and engineering teams worked to control the unprecedented integration of biological and technological systems. Outside, General Verx's forces moved their equipment into final attack positions, while the embassy's modified defenses stood ready. Foster's monitoring systems revealed an unexpected pattern in the energy readings. Dr. Miller, the crystal formations there creating a self-sustaining power loop. He transmitted the data across the quantum network, output levels exceeding theoretical maximums. Miller adjusted his stabilizer arrays, confirming the readings. Confirmed. This power generation could reinforce our critical systems. His hands moved across the controls, establishing new power routing protocols. Implementing emergency distribution pathway Alpha 7. The transport pad activated again, materializing Colonel James Blackburn. The weathered Special Warfare Commander strode directly to the tactical station, his quantum phase drones hovering behind him. Deploy combat drones to coordinates ECA 3 through 9, Blackburn ordered, activating their control interfaces. The sleek machines spread out around the embassy perimeter, their phase generators creating precise disruptions in Verx's containment field. Power links to the 7th Fleet stabilizing, Foster reported, as the drones established their protective network. Maintaining critical connections through quantum gaps, Dr. Mitchell's crystalline scanners projected new data across the medical bay's displays. These protein structures, he highlighted specific molecular chains in the holographic model, they're revering the temporal degradation at the cellular level. Initiating protein collection protocols, Dr. Hawkins announced, modifying the biocontainment fields. The medical replicators hummed as they began analyzing the specialized compounds. Dr. Reynolds, adjusting synthesis parameters now. Colonel Thompson's reinforcement drones adapted to the surge of power from Chiral's quantum field. Streams of nanocarbon material flowed through the embassy structure, creating intelligent support frameworks that shifted and strengthened in response to temporal fluctuations. Structural integrity now at optimal levels, Thompson reported. Framework adapting to all detected distortions. Lieutenant Commander Tor's voice cut through the tactical channel. Ancient defense grid located. Dr. Petrov transmitting control access codes. The maintenance tunnels thrummed with energy as dormant systems activated, their power signatures registering on enemy scanners. Multiple quantum surge weapons detected, Walker announced as his tactical displays lit up with new threats. Chief Roberts, implement Protocol Omega. Roberts's fingers flew across his security station, redirecting excess quantum field energy to experimental shield emitters. A network of overlapping defensive fields materialized around the embassy, neutralizing the enemy weapon's effectiveness. Temporal anomaly detected in medical bay. Dr. Anderson's monitoring equipment sounded new alerts. The nearby medical equipment flickered as localized time distortions affected their operation. Dr. Richard Carter stepped through another transport beam, already activating his temporal stabilization units. Establishing containment grid, he said, positioning the devices around Kyle's treatment area. The temporal fluctuations smoothed out as Carter's equipment created stable time-space boundaries. Ambassador Harrison received an urgent transmission from Strategic Command. Enemy artillery detected, he announced, transmitting tactical data to Walker's station. Quantum disruption cannons moving into position at Grid 7-3. Redistributing shield strength to vulnerable sectors, Walker responded, coordinating with Foster's engineering team. The shield grid pulsed with reinforced energy as they fortified critical sections against the approaching threat. Dr. Bell's medical sensors detected new particle formations in Kyle's quantum field. These match ancient Ocampan healing signatures, he reported, examining the data streams. The particles generated cascading effects through nearby systems, forcing rapid adjustments to containment protocols. Foster's power management displays showed increasing strain on the embassy's infrastructure. Implementing adaptive routing algorithms, he announced, working to balance the particle effects against system stability. The quantum cores pulsed with carefully regulated energy as the engineering team maintained their delicate balance of power distribution. Enemy forces advancing on Western approach. Blackburn's combat drones transmitted updated tactical data. The machines adjusted their phase fields, creating additional protective gaps in Verx's containment grid, while maintaining strategic coverage of vulnerable areas. The crystalline formations throughout Kyle's neural structure continued their accelerated growth, generating waves of specialized healing particles that Dr. Bell's team worked to contain and control. Dr. Carter's temporal stabilization units hummed at increasing frequencies, adapting to each new surge of quantum energy. Analyzing quantum stabilization patterns, Foster announced, his fingers moving across the control surfaces. He implemented Dr. Miller's latest modifications, watching as the energy readings shifted into unprecedented alignment. The crystalline formations throughout Kyle's body pulsed in perfect synchronization with the embassy's systems. Power output exceeding safe parameters, Miller said, examining the data streams. But wait, these patterns are self-regulating. Foster's displays showed a cascade of green indicators as systems stabilized, confirming sustainable energy production. Beginning power restoration to sections 3 through 7. Previously darkened corridors illuminated as vital systems reactivated. The transport pad flashed, materializing Major Alexander Drake. His quantum phase combat suit hummed with contained energy as he strode toward Colonel Walker's position. Prototype suits, fresh from advanced combat systems, Drake said, gesturing to the cargo containers materializing behind him. Designed specifically to counter Verx's containment field technology. Walker examined the sleek armor. Roberts, get our best teams suited up immediately. Security personnel moved quickly to distribute the advanced equipment as Walker reviewed tactical positions on his displays. In the medical bay, Dr. Bell's instruments chirped urgent alerts. Quantum field interaction with synthetic stem cell storage, he reported. Dr. Mitchell, confirming these readings. Mitchell adjusted his crystalline scanners, studying the cellular data. These structures aren't damaging the cells, they're improving them. Temporal stability increased by 40%. Modifying treatment protocols, Bell said, implementing the new parameters. incorporating enhanced cells into primary healing matrix. Colonel Thompson's drones swarmed through the embassy's infrastructure, weaving new support structures from streams of nanocarbon material. The network expanded rapidly, drawing power from Chiron's stable quantum field. Framework installation complete, Thompson reported. Self-maintaining systems active and responding to temporal fluctuations. Lieutenant Commander Tor's voice cut through the command channel. Ancient defense grid fully operational. Dr. Petrov, you need to see these quantum dampening generators. Petrov accessed the incoming data streams. These match classified Ocampan military designs. Foster, integrating control protocols now. Foster's engineering displays filled with new options as the ancient systems came online. Merging power networks. Defense capability increased by 60%. Multiple warning indicators flashed across Walker's tactical station. Heavy quantum artillery detected. Multiple units moving into firing positions. He transmitted coordinate data to the security teams. Activating quantum nullification zones, Roberts announced. The ancient dampening generators hummed to life, creating invisible barriers that disrupted enemy weapon effectiveness while preserving embassy systems. Dr. Carter adjusted his temporal stabilization units, containing the increasing temporal effects from Chiron's enhanced treatment. Field containment holding at optimal levels, he reported. Dr. Bell, you can safely increase healing intensity. Power draw from temporal units increasing, Foster said, implementing additional routing protocols. Adjusting distribution grid to compensate. Ambassador Harrison received an urgent transmission. Strategic Command warning Verx is deploying specialized disruption generators targeted at Chiron's treatment frequency. Walker accessed the tactical data, confirmed multiple generator signatures, requesting immediate Marine support from the 7th Fleet. His security teams moved into defensive positions, their new quantum phase suits allowing them to pass through enemy containment fields. Dr. Hawkins's monitoring equipment registered unprecedented processing speeds from Chiron's neural network. Crystalline pathways operating beyond quantum computer parameters, he reported. Enhanced processing improving treatment effectiveness, but increasing system interaction risks. Foster's power management displays showed complex patterns of energy flow between biological and technological systems. He implemented precise adjustments, maintaining stability as the embassy's integrated networks expanded in complexity and capability. Foster's attention snapped to a new alert on his engineering display. Dr. Mitchell's crystalline scanners had detected an emerging pattern in Chiron's neural structure, precisely arranged geometric formations that pulsed with controlled quantum energy. These formations, Mitchell said, highlighting the holographic model. They match ancient Ocampan healing chamber schematics from the security archives. Foster analyzed the data streams, his eyes widening. They're acting as natural quantum amplifiers. Dr. Bell, we can use these patterns to enhance both your treatment protocols and our defensive systems. The transport pad activated, materializing Major Thomas Reeves. The quantum shield specialist moved with practiced efficiency, directing his technical team to unload several modified shield modulation units. Latest prototypes from Earth, Reeves said, interfacing with Foster's engineering station. Designed to work with those ancient dampening generators you've discovered. He transmitted the technical specifications across the quantum network. Dr. Bell's medical sensors chirped urgently. Protein production exceeding standard parameters, he announced, studying the biochemical readouts. Dr. Hawkins, we need modified containment protocols. Hawkins adjusted the biocontainment fields, creating specialized collection matrices. Dr. Reynolds, implementing emergency protein stabilization sequence. The medical replicators hummed at increasing frequencies as they processed the enhanced compounds. Multiple phase signatures detected. Walker's tactical display highlighted several infiltration attempts near the medical wing. Roberts deployed combat teams in sectors 4 through 6. Roberts directed the security teams, their new quantum phase suits allowing them to move through solid matter. Intruders carrying specialized scanning equipment, he reported as his teams engaged the infiltrators. They're targeting Chiral's treatment protocols. Foster's engineering team worked rapidly to integrate the ancient Ocampan generators with Dr. Miller's quantum stabilizers. The combined systems created cascading energy fields that reinforced each other, generating stable power while maintaining protective barriers. Power restoration proceeding to previously inactive sections, Foster announced, monitoring the expanding energy network. The embassy's dormant systems reactivated sequentially as stable power returned. Lieutenant Commander Tor's voice came through the command channel. Dr. Petrov, analyzing additional Ocampan defensive systems. These quantum frequency jammers they match the core technology in Verx's weapon designs. Transmitting frequency analysis to tactical, Petrov said. Colonel Walker, these readings reveal critical vulnerabilities in their artillery. Walker modified the embassy's defensive protocols, targeting specific frequencies. The quantum dampening field adjusted automatically, creating precise disruption patterns that would render enemy weapons ineffective. Dr. Carter's temporal monitors registered a spike in quantum coherence. Medical team, detecting matched frequencies between Chiral's neural network and Earth medical systems. He adjusted his stabilization units, maintaining temporal boundaries around the unprecedented convergence of technologies. Colonel Thompson's reinforcement drones adapted to the enhanced quantum field, their nanofabricators producing specialized components that channeled Chiral's beneficial emissions. The medical bay's structural supports pulsed with contained energy as the drones wove new protective layers through the embassy's infrastructure. Treatment intensity increased by 30%, Dr. Bell reported, monitoring Chiral's vital signs through the crystalline interface, maintaining stable cellular regeneration. Major Drake coordinated his combat teams around the medical wing's perimeter. Their quantum phase suits created overlapping protective fields that shifted in response to detected threats. Neutralizing infiltration team at Junction 7, he reported as his forces engaged another group of intruders, gathering intel from captured equipment. Ambassador Harrison processed the tactical data from the captured infiltrators. This confirms Verx's illegal weapons program, he said, transmitting secure files to Strategic Command. But his forces are still advancing. The embassy's integrated defense network continued to evolve as Foster's team expanded the power grid. Ancient Ocampan technology merged seamlessly with Earth's latest developments, creating hybrid systems that exceeded original design specifications. The quantum cores pulsed with carefully regulated energy as crystalline formations throughout the facility channeled power where it was needed most. Dr. Bell's medical team worked efficiently within their reinforced treatment area, harvesting the specialized proteins while maintaining optimal healing conditions. The biocontainment fields hummed at precise frequencies, preserving the valuable compounds as Dr. Reynolds refined the stabilization process. Foster's displays showed new power signatures as Major Reeves's shield modulation units came online. The layered defensive systems created complex patterns of protection, adapting automatically to changes in enemy weapon frequencies. The embassy's quantum field expanded outward, neutralizing incoming artillery fire while maintaining critical power to medical systems. A high-pitched whine filled the embassy as the quantum dampening generators reached peak resonance. Foster's monitoring equipment displayed an unexpected pattern. The generator's output frequencies aligned perfectly with the crystalline structures in Chiral's neural network. Energy synchronization detected, Foster announced, adjusting power flow parameters. The generators are amplifying both defensive and medical systems simultaneously. The transport pad flashed, materializing a silver-haired man in a lab coat carrying specialized equipment. Dr. Benjamin Harris, Mars Advanced Research Complex, he said, moving swiftly to Foster's engineering station. Those resonance patterns they're creating a quantum biological feedback loop. Harris connected his monitoring devices to the embassy's systems, holographic displays springing to life around him. The integration between Ocampan and human technology is generating entirely new energy states. Multiple security alerts flashed across Walker's tactical display. Breach detection, maintenance level 3, he announced. Multiple contacts using advanced phase technology. Drake's voice crackled through the comm system. Rigelian elite core signatures confirmed, moving to engage. His quantum phase combat teams descended through the embassy's service corridors, passing through solid walls as they tracked the intruders. In the medical bay, Dr. Bell's instruments registered a breakthrough. Cellular analysis shows quantum-resistant structures forming within the new tissue, he reported. Dr. Mitchell, confirming these readings. Mitchell's crystalline scanners hummed as they analyzed the modified cells. These cells are naturally counteracting temporal degradation while maintaining normal biological functions. Beginning harvest sequence for detailed analysis. The embassy shuddered as another artillery barrage impacted the outer defenses. Colonel Thompson's drones swarmed through the infrastructure, transmitting structural data. Detecting increasing stress patterns in primary support beams, Thompson reported. Foster implemented emergency protocols, rerouting power through the nanocarbon framework. Converting excess quantum energy from Chiral's field into structural reinforcement, he said. The building's support structure began pulsing with contained energy, creating a lattice of self-reinforcing fields. Ancient archives accessed, Tours announced from the security station. Dr. Petrov, these files contain detailed quantum weapon countermeasures. Petrov's eyes widened as he reviewed the data. These frequency patterns they match Verx's artillery exactly. Foster, transmitting disruption protocols now. The transport pad activated again, revealing a man in a strategic command uniform. Captain Davidson, Special Projects Division, he said, directing his team to unload specialized equipment. Verx is deploying quantum field disruptors targeting Chiral's treatment frequency. Davidson's team moved quickly, installing countermeasure devices around the medical wing. The devices created overlapping fields of protection, maintaining the stability of the healing process as enemy disruption attempts increased. Dr. Harris's monitoring equipment detected new patterns emerging in the power grid. The embassy's systems are synchronizing with Chiral's neural activity, he reported. It's creating a self-sustaining energy loop that's improving power efficiency across all systems. Foster adjusted the zero-point energy tap, reducing the strain on primary power systems. Confirmed. Power stability increased by 50%. Dr. Bell, you can safely expand treatment protocols. Ambassador Harrison received an encrypted transmission, his expression grim. Strategic Command has intercepted Verx's attack plans. He's using the artillery as cover for a major infiltration operation. Requesting immediate Marine support, Walker said, transmitting tactical data to the 7th Fleet. His security teams moved into defensive positions around critical areas of the embassy. Dr. Carter's temporal monitoring equipment registered new anomalies, detecting localized temporal acceleration around Chiral's treatment zone, he reported. The enhanced healing response is affecting local time flow. Implementing temporal containment protocols, Harris said, working with Carter to adjust the stabilization fields. Their instruments showed the accelerated healing effects remained within safe parameters, while the surrounding embassy systems maintained normal temporal synchronization. Drake's voice cut through the command channel. Multiple engagements in progress. Rigelian forces using advanced infiltration tactics. Weapons fire echoed through the maintenance corridors as his quantum phase teams intercepted the intruders. Foster's displays showed increasing complexity in the embassy's integrated systems as ancient Ocampan technology merged with Earth's latest developments. The quantum cores pulsed with carefully regulated energy, channeling power through the growing network of crystalline formations that now permeated the facility's infrastructure. Energy signature evolution detected, Harris announced, his monitoring equipment displaying complex waveforms. The resonance between Chiral's neural network and our power systems has stabilized into a sustainable pattern. Foster's fingers flew across his console, implementing emergency protocols, deploying quantum capacitors to capture and redistribute excess energy. The specialized storage units activated throughout the facility, their crystalline matrices pulsing with contained power. All embassy systems now operating on internal power generation. Multiple alerts flashed across Walker's tactical display as enemy signatures appeared simultaneously at different sectors. Coordinated assault beginning. Multiple infiltration teams detected. He activated the command channel. All security teams to designated defensive positions. The embassy shuddered under the impact of quantum artillery fire. Davidson's countermeasure devices responded automatically, creating precise interference patterns that deflected the incoming barrage. Adjusting shield harmonics, Davidson said, his hands moving rapidly across the control surface. Foster, we need additional power to the northern quadrant. Redirecting energy flow, Foster responded. The quantum capacitors glowed brighter as they channeled power through the embassy systems. Thompson, status of structural integrity. Nanocarbon framework is absorbing excess quantum energy, Thompson reported as his drones swarmed through the infrastructure, modifying fabrication protocols to utilize this power distribution. The drones deployed new support structures throughout the facility, their nanoassemblers weaving energy-conductive materials into existing frameworks. In the medical wing, Dr. Bell studied the latest cellular analysis with growing interest. Quantum-resistant cell reproduction has become self-sustaining, he announced, adjusting his biomonitors. Dr. Mitchell, confirming these readings. Mitchell's crystalline scanners hummed as they mapped the cellular network forming throughout Chiral's body. The protection against temporal cellular degradation appears permanent, beginning detailed documentation of the process. Ancient shield matrix online, Tors called from the security station. The facility's original defensive systems activated, creating new layers of protection that merged seamlessly with modern shields. Dr. Petrov, integration complete. Petrov analyzed the combined defensive output. Shield harmonics optimized against Verx's weapon signatures. Walker, you have full coverage across all sectors. The transport pad activated, materializing Major Gregory Stevens and his advanced combat engineering team. Deploying quantum field stabilizers, Stevens announced, directing his personnel to strategic positions around the medical wing. The stabilizers created a protective zone that isolated Chiral's treatment area while maintaining optimal defensive capabilities. Dr. Harris, Bell called urgently. These energy readings from Chiral's neural network, they're affecting nearby patients. Harris rushed to analyze the data. The healing response has evolved beyond individual cellular repair. Foster, we need containment protocols immediately. Foster initiated emergency containment fields around the medical wing as Dr. Bell's team documented the unexpected healing effects. The quantum capacitors automatically adjusted their storage parameters to handle the increasing energy flow from Chiral's enhanced field. Ambassador Harrison's secure terminal chimed with priority alerts. Verks is deploying modified artillery pieces, he announced, reviewing the tactical data. They're incorporating stolen medical technology, detecting quantum disruption patterns targeting healing frequencies, Davidson reported, his countermeasure devices adapting to the new threat. Dr. Bell, you need to accelerate the treatment timeline. Acknowledged, Bell responded, working with Mitchell to adjust their medical protocols, maintaining precise monitoring of all quantum biological interfaces. The embassy's power grid pulsed with contained energy as Foster's team managed the increasingly complex integration of systems. Quantum capacitors distributed power efficiently throughout the facility, maintaining defensive shields while strengthening medical containment fields. Major Stevens stabilizers created expanding zones of protection as Thompson's drones continued reinforcing the embassy's structure, transforming it into an integrated power distribution network that grew stronger with each passing moment. Walker's tactical teams moved efficiently through the reinforced corridors, coordinating with Drake's quantum phase units to counter the waves of Rigelian infiltrators. The combined defensive systems created an evolving barrier against Verks's attacks, adapting automatically to each new weapon signature, while maintaining the crucial protective envelope around Chiral's treatment area. The embassy's power grid surged unexpectedly as Foster's quantum capacitors registered a massive energy spike emanating from Chiral's treatment zone. Unprecedented power surge detected, Foster announced, his fingers racing across multiple control surfaces, energy levels exceeding predicted parameters. The transport pad activated, materializing a distinguished man with steel-gray hair carrying specialized equipment. Dr. Alexander Ward, Jupiter Medical Research Station, he said, moving swiftly to connect his bioquantum monitoring devices. The holographic displays surrounding his station illuminated with complex energy patterns. These readings confirm it, Ward said, analyzing the data streams. Chiral's quantum-resistant cells are generating a self-sustaining healing field. The effect extends well beyond his immediate vicinity. Multiple breach alerts flashed across Walker's tactical display. Security breach, lower levels, he announced. Multiple Rigelian signatures detected using advanced phase shift technology. Drake's voice cut through the command channel, moving to engage, quantum phase teams deploying to intercept. His combat units shifted through walls and floors, their specially modified weapons tracking the phase-shifted intruders. In the medical bay, Dr. Bell's instruments registered another breakthrough. The crystalline neural network it's producing stable templates, he reported. Dr. Mitchell initiating replication sequence. Mitchell adjusted the medical replicators, their internal mechanisms humming as they began manufacturing synthetic cells. Quantum signature matching original samples, he confirmed. Dr. Harris monitoring stability parameters. The embassy shuddered violently as Thompson's drones transmitted urgent structural data. Critical power absorption detected in nanocarbon framework, Thompson reported. Support beams approaching maximum capacity. Foster activated emergency protocols, installing specialized energy sinks throughout the structure. Implementing power distribution modifications, he said. The building's framework pulsed with contained energy as the new systems regulated the increasing power flow. Ancient archives yielding critical data, Tors called from the security station. Dr. Petrov, analyzing quantum dampening protocols. Petrov's eyes widened as he reviewed the information. These are the foundation elements of modern Ocampan defenses. Colonel Walker, transmitting tactical predictions now. Walker's security teams repositioned based on the new data, creating overlapping defensive fields around critical sectors. Defense grid optimized. All teams maintain current positions. Dr. Miller's quantum stabilizers detected new patterns emerging in the power grid. Multiple frequency harmonization detected, Miller reported. The healing field is integrating with embassy systems. Foster implemented emergency power routing protocols, channeling the excess energy through reinforced conduits, redistributing power to defensive and medical systems, he said. The enhanced energy flow strengthened shield generators while powering expanded medical equipment. Davidson's monitoring equipment detected unusual quantum signatures approaching the perimeter. Multiple anomalous signatures incoming, he announced, matching classified Ocampan weapon profiles, deploying countermeasures now. His team quickly installed protective devices around the medical wing, creating a specialized barrier that maintained treatment stability. The synthetic cell production continued uninterrupted as the new defensive measures activated. Ambassador Harrison's secure terminal displayed urgent data from Strategic Command. Final artillery wave incoming, he announced. Verx has modified his weapons with quantum disruption technology targeting treatment frequencies. Implementing additional power routing protocols, Foster responded, adjusting energy distribution patterns. The quantum capacitors pulsed with increasing intensity as they managed the complex power flow. Dr. Reynolds's biomonitoring equipment detected unexpected interactions between Chiral's enhanced cells and the embassy's quantum processors. Processing anomalies detected, Reynolds reported. Dr. Hawkins, systems requiring immediate modification. Hawkins worked rapidly with Dr. Carter, adjusting the facility's computer systems to accommodate the quantum biological interface. Temporal stability maintained, Carter confirmed. Medical and defensive systems operating within acceptable parameters. The combined medical team continued their work as the embassy's enhanced systems protected against Verx's increasingly sophisticated attacks. Foster's modified power grid distributed energy efficiently through the reinforced structure, while Davidson's countermeasures maintained the integrity of the treatment zone. Dr. Ward's specialized instruments continued mapping the expanding healing field as Mitchell's replicators produced increasing quantities of synthetic cells. The embassy's modified systems pulsed with contained power, managing the complex interaction between quantum and biological processes as the security teams engaged multiple waves of phase-shifted infiltrators. The ancient defense protocols guided Walker's tactical responses, while Drake's combat units pursued Rigelian forces through the facility's quantum-enhanced infrastructure. Thompson's drones continued reinforcing critical areas as the nanocarbon framework absorbed and redistributed increasing levels of quantum energy throughout the enhanced structure. The embassy's enhanced infrastructure hummed with increasing power as Dr. Ward's bioquantum monitoring equipment detected an unexpected pattern. Energy signature expanding beyond medical containment, he announced, adjusting his instruments. The healing field is propagating through secured zones. Foster's hands flew across multiple control surfaces, implementing adaptive containment protocols. New energy barriers materialized throughout the facility, creating controlled channels for the quantum field's distribution. Dr. Miller need immediate power regulation. Miller's quantum stabilizers pulsed as they adjusted to the changing conditions. Containment fields holding at 80% capacity, modifying distribution parameters. The embassy shook violently as synchronized quantum artillery fire impacted the shields. Walker's tactical display lit up with multiple threat indicators. Coordinated barrage detected, 8 artillery pieces firing in synchronized patterns. Phase-shift infiltrators in sectors 3 through 7, Drake reported through the command channel. His combat teams moved through walls and floors, quantum weapons tracking the ghost-like shapes of Rigelian special forces, engaging multiple targets. The transport pad activated, materializing a tall man with weather-worn features carrying specialized equipment. Professor James Richardson, Saturn Research Institute, he said, quickly connecting his devices to the embassy's sensor network. These energy readings, extraordinary. Richardson studied the holographic displays intently. The healing field is creating harmonic resonance with the ancient dampeners. Foster, if we modify the shield generators to match this frequency. Implementing modifications now, Foster responded. The shield grid pulsed with new energy as the changes took effect. Outside, several of Verx's artillery pieces exploded as their quantum disruption fields collapsed. In the medical wing, Dr. Mitchell's crystalline scanners hummed with increased activity. Successful cell replication achieved, he reported. Dr. Bell, synthetic production stable. Bell examined the readouts from the medical replicators. Beginning mass production of quantum-resistant cells. Dr. Harris confirmed stability metrics. All parameters within acceptable range, Harris confirmed as the synthetic cells accumulated in specialized storage units. Dr. Reynolds, containment systems ready. Reynolds activated the quantum-shielded storage facility, its protective fields automatically adjusting to maintain optimal preservation conditions. Storage units online, beginning systematic cataloging of synthetic samples. Thompson's drones transmitted new structural data as they modified their construction patterns. Nanocarbon framework actively channeling healing energy, Thompson reported, creating specialized conduits through reinforced sectors. The ancient security station activated with renewed purpose as Tors accessed deeper layers of archived data. Additional defensive protocols discovered, he called. Dr. Petrov analyzing quantum countermeasure sequences. These protocols. Petrov's eyes widened as he studied the ancient data. They're designed specifically for quantum siege defense, implementing countermeasures now. New fields of quantum disruption emanated from the embassy's defense grid, creating invisible barriers that caused incoming artillery fire to dissipate harmlessly. Walker's tactical teams repositioned to take advantage of the enhanced protection. Professor Richardson's instruments detected another significant change. The healing field is generating harmonics that match Earth's medical technology. Foster, if we modify the stabilizers. Already on it, Foster responded, working with Dr. Miller to adjust the quantum stabilizers. The embassy's power grid surged as it incorporated the new harmonics, strength flowing through every system. Ambassador Harrison's secure terminal displayed urgent tactical updates. Multiple Ocampan vessels breaking orbit, he announced. Strategic Command confirms Verx is committing his reserve forces. Dr. Ward's monitoring equipment registered a new development in Chiral's treatment zone. Neural network producing specialized proteins, he reported. Dr. Bell, these could permanently stabilize the quantum-resistant cells. Bell coordinated with Dr. Hawkins to modify the medical replicators. Beginning protein synthesis, Hawkins confirmed. Maintaining quantum stability during production. Major Stevens directed his engineering teams to deploy mobile shield generators around critical junctions, creating reinforced defense points at all major access routes, he reported. The generators hummed to life, their protective fields merging seamlessly with the embassy's enhanced shields. The facility's power grid pulsed with contained energy as Foster's modified distribution system handled the increasing demands of both defensive and medical operations. Richardson's specialized equipment continued mapping the complex interactions between quantum fields as Drake's combat units engaged the phase-shifted infiltrators throughout the lower levels. Multiple alarms activated across Foster's power management consoles as synchronized quantum artillery fire impacted the shields. The embassy's reinforced structure groaned under the concentrated barrage. All remaining artillery pieces firing, Walker announced, tracking multiple incoming signatures. Pattern indicates coordinated strike package. The command center's doors slid open as Commander Victor Steele strode in, his quantum science team close behind. "Chief Engineer Foster, we brought something that might help." His personnel quickly unpacked specialized equipment, connecting sleek quantum field amplifiers to the embassy's power grid. "Detecting unusual energy patterns," Richardson said, studying his instruments. "The healing field is creating harmonic resonance with the ancient dampeners. Commander Steele, your amplifiers could—" "Exactly," Steele interrupted, adjusting control parameters. "Foster, route power through the new amplifiers. They'll strengthen both shields and containment systems." Foster's fingers danced across his console, integrating the amplifiers into the power distribution network. The embassy's shield grid pulsed with renewed strength as the quantum signatures merged. In the medical wing, Dr. Bell examined data streaming from the crystalline scanners. Synthetic cell production achieving stable output. Dr. Mitchell confirmed replication metrics. Mitchell analyzed the biotechnology readouts. 100% effectiveness maintained. Harris, protein synthesis rates. Production exceeding projected parameters, Harris reported as the medical replicators hummed steadily. Dr. Ward, containment units ready for storage. Ward activated specialized shield harmonics around the storage facilities. Units online. Quantum stability confirmed. Multiple breach alerts flashed across security displays. New infiltration signatures detected, Drake reported through the command channel. His quantum phase teams moved to intercept as ghostly figures emerged through supposedly solid walls. Engaging targets in sectors 2, 4, and 6. Engineering teams deploying additional generators, Stevens announced, coordinating rapid shield reinforcement. His personnel installed compact devices at strategic points, creating overlapping defensive fields. Tor's eyes widened as ancient displays activated with new information. "Dr. Petrov, these defensive protocols, they're generating interference patterns that match Acampan medical frequencies. Implementing pattern recognition algorithms now," Petrov responded, fingers flying across holographic controls. The embassy's defense grid shifted frequencies, disrupting enemy targeting systems. Multiple artillery shots went wide as their guidance systems failed. Thompson's drones transmitted updated structural data as they integrated with the expanding quantum field. The nanocarbon framework pulsed with contained energy, channeling healing frequencies through specialized conduits. "Power generation exceeding theoretical limits," Richardson announced, reviewing sensor data. "The structural integration is creating a self-sustaining energy matrix." Ambassador Harrison's secure terminal displayed urgent updates from Strategic Command. Acampan Council security forces moving to disable Verx's artillery positions, he reported. 7th Fleet maintaining defensive formation. Multiple infiltrator units withdrawing, Drake announced as his team secured breached sectors. Captured several of their phase shift devices intact. Dr. Ward's monitoring equipment detected new activity in the treatment zone. "Crystalline network producing specialized repair enzymes," he called. "Dr. Bell, these could reverse degradation effects." "Preparing expanded treatment protocols," Bell confirmed, studying the enzyme analysis. "These remain stable outside containment fields." The embassy's quantum capacitors registered massive power spikes as medical and defensive systems reached peak output. Commander Steele's amplifiers pulsed with contained energy, automatically adjusting to maintain optimal distribution through Foster's modified power grid. Richardson's instruments tracked the complex quantum interactions as Verx's remaining forces pressed their attack. The merged defensive fields continued strengthening while Ward's medical team prepared additional treatment doses, stored safely in their shielded containment units. The transport pad activated again, materializing Dr. Marcus Winters amid a cascade of quantum particles. His weathered face creased with concentration as he quickly assessed the situation, connecting specialized resonance stabilizers to the embassy's power grid. Critical power surge detected, Foster announced, watching energy levels spike across his displays. The combined output from Chiron healing field and Steel's amplifiers pushed the system toward maximum capacity. Dr. Winters, we need those stabilizers online now. Integrating quantum resonance matrices, Winters responded, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. The stabilizers hummed to life, their crystalline cores pulsing with contained energy, compensating for harmonic feedback. Multiple explosion alerts flashed across tactical displays as Verx's remaining artillery opened fire. Walker's security teams tracked incoming projectiles, their trajectories aimed directly at the medical wing. Hyport surge weapons detected, Walker called through the command channel. Multiple units targeting treatment zones. His teams moved quickly to reinforce critical positions, redirecting power from Chiron's quantum field into defensive barriers. Below ground level, Drake's combat units engaged waves of phase-shifted infiltrators. Heavy resistance in sectors 1 through 9, he reported as quantum weapons fire lit up the lower corridors. Enemy forces attempting to breach containment areas. In the medical wing, crystalline scanners pulsed with increased activity. Enhanced cellular regeneration detected, Mitchell announced, studying the biotechnology readouts. Dr. Bell, these synthetic cells are exhibiting unprecedented properties. Bell examined the data streaming across multiple displays. Production efficiency at maximum. Cell viability exceeding baseline by 150%. The medical replicators hummed steadily, manufacturing treatment doses at peak capacity. Thompson's drones transmitted urgent structural updates. Crystalline formations detected in nanocarbon framework, Thompson reported as his units mapped the changing infrastructure. Pattern matches Chiron's neural matrix. Confirmed, Winters said, analyzing readings from his resonance stabilizers. The entire facility is transforming into a quantum amplification system. He worked quickly with Foster to implement emergency power routing protocols, channeling excess energy through newly formed crystalline conduits. Torres accessed deeper layers of ancient security protocols, his eyes widening at the data streaming across ancient displays. Final defense system activated, he announced as quantum interference patterns erupted from hidden emitters. Multiple enemy weapon systems went dark as the disruption field expanded. These protocols. Petrov studied the incoming data intently. They're designed to create targeted quantum disruption effects, coordinating with tactical teams now. He transmitted targeting data to Walker's security forces, allowing them to systematically neutralize Verx's remaining artillery positions. Dr. Harris's monitoring equipment detected a significant change in Chiron's treatment zone. Neural network achieving full synchronization, he reported as crystalline processors merged with embassy systems. Dr. Hawkins' quantum processing load increasing exponentially. Hawkins modified system parameters optimizing data flow through enhanced quantum circuits. Processing capacity stable. Dr. Carter, temporal field status. Maintaining precise chronometric alignment, Carter confirmed, adjusting his temporal stabilizers. Treatment zone parameters locked. Professor Richardson's specialized sensors tracked a new energy signature forming around Chiron. Detecting stable quantum healing field formation, he announced, comparing readings to theoretical models. Commander Steele, can your amplifiers contain this pattern? Redirecting quantum field harmonics now, Steele responded. His amplifiers pulsed with redirected energy, carefully isolating the beneficial effects while preventing system interference. Ambassador Harrison received encrypted updates from Ocampan High Council forces. Council security teams have secured multiple strategic positions, he reported. Verx's forces are dividing to maintain both siege and defensive operations. Foster's power management systems registered the formation of a sustained energy loop between Chiral's quantum field and the enhanced infrastructure. Self-sustaining power matrix detected, he announced, as Winter's stabilizers confirmed the pattern's stability. The engineering team began implementing permanent system modifications, carefully integrating the improved power distribution network into existing embassy systems. Walker coordinated with approaching Council forces through secured channels, establishing overlapping fields of fire around the embassy perimeter. Combined defensive positions established, he reported as Allied units moved into position, containing remaining enemy forces. The embassy's enhanced framework continued its transformation, crystalline structures spreading through reinforced sectors as Winter's stabilizers maintained perfect power distribution through the evolving systems. The merged quantum fields pulsed with contained energy, strengthening both defensive barriers and medical operations as the treatment entered its critical phase. Foster's quantum capacitors registered unprecedented stabilization across the facility's power grid. The transport pad activated once more, materializing Dr. Ethan Blackwood amid a shower of quantum particles. His weathered features and silver hair reflected decades of experience at the Titan Research Complex, as he quickly connected specialized crystalline analysis equipment to nearby terminals. Power harmonics achieving perfect resonance, Blackwood announced, studying the complex data patterns. The crystalline network integration exceeds theoretical projections. His instruments tracked the spreading quantum field patterns through the embassy's enhanced framework. Multiple breach alerts flashed as enemy units launched a coordinated assault. Walker's tactical display lit up with new contact signatures. Phase shift signatures detected in medical wing approach sectors, he called through the command channel. Enemy units using experimental infiltration tech. Drake's teams moved swiftly to intercept, quantum weapons primed, engaging hostiles in medical access corridors, he reported as energy weapons fire lit up the reinforced passageways. Multiple infiltration units detected. Blackwood's analysis revealed critical frequency patterns in the enemy phase technology. Security Chief Roberts transmitting phase variance data now. These signatures match specific crystalline resonance bands. Implementing countermeasures, Roberts confirmed, adjusting defensive field parameters. The embassy's shield grid pulsed with reconfigured energy that disrupted the enemy phase shift devices. Several infiltrators materialized fully solid, caught mid-stride through supposedly secure barriers. In the medical wing, Dr. Bell examined the latest batch of synthesized cells. First production run achieving quantum-resistant properties, he announced as Mitchell's crystalline scanners confirmed the results. Structural integrity at maximum. Replication rate sustained at peak capacity, Mitchell added, monitoring the automated production systems. Each batch maintains enhanced healing characteristics. The ancient security station's displays flared to life as Tors accessed master defense protocols. Activating primary grid response, he called as hidden emitters powered up throughout the facility. Waves of quantum interference spread outward, causing enemy weapon systems to spark and fail. These defensive patterns, Petrov said, analyzing the ancient data streams. They're specifically designed to protect medical operations during combat scenarios. He transmitted the protocols to Foster's engineering station. Foster's fingers flew across his console, merging the ancient systems with modern defensive tech. Implementing hybrid protection grid now. The combined fields created an impenetrable barrier that neutralized incoming enemy fire. Thompson's drones mapped the continuing structural evolution as crystalline formations generated localized quantum fields. The framework is producing independent healing fields, Thompson reported. Pattern matches Chiral's quantum signature. Confirmed, Blackwood said, examining sensor data. The entire facility has become a quantum medical amplifier. He worked with the engineering team to establish containment channels, directing the enhanced healing energies to designated treatment zones. Ambassador Harrison's secure terminal displayed urgent updates. Strategic Command reports Council security forces deploying specialized dampening equipment, he announced. They're establishing a containment perimeter around Verx's artillery positions. The enemy's heavy weapons fell silent as Council forces activated their quantum dampening field. Walker's tactical display showed enemy units abandoning their artillery emplacements, retreating from the advancing Council security teams. Richardson's instruments detected perfect harmonic convergence between Chiral's quantum field and the embassy's enhanced systems. Complete resonance achieved, he called as Steele's amplifiers channeled the merged energy through Blackwood's optimized distribution network. Power efficiency exceeding theoretical limits, Steele confirmed, monitoring the amplifier outputs. The crystalline framework is maintaining stable distribution. Winters studied readings from his quantum resonance stabilizers, detecting formation of permanent quantum-resistant zones throughout medical sectors, he reported. Properties similar to ancient healing chambers, but significantly enhanced. Preparing additional treatment areas, Bell announced as his team configured new spaces to utilize the enhanced healing field. The medical wing hummed with contained energy as the crystalline network maintained optimal conditions. The embassy's defensive grid reached maximum power as the combined technologies created an unbreakable barrier around the facility. Walker's security teams reported all enemy infiltration attempts had ceased. Major Stevens directed his engineering teams to begin incorporating the enhanced crystalline framework into permanent defensive installations as Council forces secured the perimeter, driving back General Verx's remaining units. Blackwood's instruments continued mapping the evolution of the merged quantum systems as the embassy's transformation progressed. The crystalline network expanded through reinforced sectors while maintaining perfect power distribution, creating an unprecedented fusion of human and Ocampan technology. The crystalline lattice pulsed with quantum energy as Foster's monitoring systems registered an unprecedented power signature. Full synchronization achieved, he announced, watching the harmonics display stabilize. Chiral's healing field has merged completely with the embassy network. A brilliant flash lit the medical transport pad as Dr. Nathan Cooper materialized, his weathered features reflecting decades of quantum biological research at the Mars Medical Institute. He quickly connected his specialized diagnostic array to the nearest medical terminal, Silver Hair, catching the light of crystalline formations spreading across the ceiling. Remarkable integration patterns, Cooper said, studying the incoming data streams. The facility's quantum matrix is maintaining perfect stability across all treatment zones. His instruments tracked waves of healing energy flowing through the enhanced framework. Below ground, Drake's combat teams cornered several fleeing officers in the maintenance tunnels. Targets secured, he reported as quantum phase rifles powered down, identifying General Verx's senior command staff among the prisoners. Excellent work, Walker responded, his tactical display showing Verx's command center going dark as Council forces disabled its power core. Intelligence teams standing by for immediate debriefing. The captured officers revealed critical data about hidden weapon stockpiles and backup command posts. Tors quickly input the coordinates into the ancient security station's targeting matrix, transmitting strike package data to Allied forces. In the medical wing, Mitchell's crystalline scanners hummed with increased activity. Secondary treatment zones exhibiting full quantum resonance, he reported as Bell examined the latest cell production data. Replication rate at 300% of baseline. Processing stability confirmed, Cooper added, his diagnostic equipment tracking each new batch of quantum-resistant cells. Cellular integrity maintaining perfect concordance with template patterns. Thompson's drones detected a new phenomenon spreading through the crystalline framework. "Sir, the infrastructure is generating specialized medical nanites," he called as Blackwood's sensors confirmed the readings. The microscopic machines matched the healing properties of chiral's enhanced cells while maintaining cross-species compatibility. Foster quickly accessed environmental controls, implementing controlled nanite distribution through purified air systems, he said, as sterile healing environments formed throughout the medical sectors. Deep in the ancient security station, Tors accessed a previously dormant control interface. Hidden panels slid aside, revealing rows of advanced treatment chambers. "Emergency medical systems online," he announced as Petrov analyzed the incoming data. "These chambers were designed for mass casualty scenarios," Petrov said, studying the ancient schematics. "Power distribution optimal for simultaneous treatment of multiple patients." Steele's quantum field amplifiers detected a stable resonance pattern forming across the facility. "Energy matrix achieving permanent stability," he reported as Richardson's instruments tracked the expanded healing field. "Medical operations can now function indefinitely at peak capacity." Through secured channels, Harrison received updated tactical data from Earth Command. "Council forces have secured 80% of enemy assets," he announced. "Medical evacuation corridors being established now." Dr. Ward's bioquantum sensors registered increased cellular activity in the initial test subjects. "Regeneration rates exceeding projected parameters," he said, as Cooper's diagnostic systems confirmed the readings. "Vital signs remain stable throughout accelerated healing process." The medical transport pad activated again, materializing crates of specialized equipment from the Mars Medical Institute. Bell's team quickly integrated the quantum-compatible systems into the enhanced treatment grid, while Foster's engineers modified power distribution protocols to accommodate the new hardware. "Treatment capacity now at maximum sustainable levels," Cooper announced, monitoring the merged human Ocampan medical network. The embassy hummed with contained energy as crystalline processors maintained optimal healing conditions throughout the facility, ready to receive the first wave of patients suffering from temporal cellular degradation. The crystalline displays adjusted automatically as the embassy's power systems adapted to accommodate the expanded medical operations. Blue-white light pulsed through transparent conduits as Chief Engineer Foster's modified distribution grid channeled quantum energy to each treatment zone. The medical transport pad flared again, materializing Dr. Marcus Baker amid swirling particles of light. His angular features reflected focused intensity as he connected advanced diagnostic arrays to the nearest medical console. Multiple holographic displays sprang to life, showing detailed patient data across all treatment zones. "Quantum resonance patterns stable in all pods," Baker announced, fingers moving rapidly across the controls. "Beginning calibration sequence for mass treatment protocols." Dr. Bell nodded as his staff integrated the new equipment. "Synthetic cell production maintaining peak efficiency. First treatment batches ready for distribution." Warning klaxons cut through the steady hum of medical equipment. Walker's tactical display lit up with multiple breach alerts as quantum phase signatures appeared throughout the facility's power distribution network. "Enemy units targeting critical power nodes," Walker called through the command channel. "Major Drake, multiple infiltrators detected in sectors 7 through 12. Drake's combat teams moved with practiced efficiency, quantum weapons powered up. "Contact in Sector 8, he reported as energy bolts lit up the corridor. 2 hostiles neutralized, moving to intercept remaining targets. Commander Steele's amplifiers hummed as they adjusted automatically to the threat, shield frequencies adapting to match phase variants, detecting modified infiltration signatures. The captured infiltrators' quantum comm devices revealed encrypted tactical data. Tors quickly accessed the ancient security station's decryption protocols. Sir, transmitting coordinates of General Verx's fallback positions now. In the medical wing, Dr. Mitchell's crystalline scanners detected an unexpected development. Dr. Cooper, cellular enhancement detected in Treatment Zone 3, regenerative properties exceeding baseline parameters. Cooper's diagnostic equipment confirmed the readings as his silver-haired form moved between monitoring stations. Cellular restoration progressing at 150% of projected rates. Tissue compatibility optimal across all test subjects. Lieutenant Commander Tors accessed another layer of ancient systems, revealing additional medical protocols. Hidden panels retracted throughout the security station as dormant equipment activated. Dr. Petrov, these systems are integrated with the original defensive grid. Fascinating, Petrov said, studying the incoming data streams. The ancients designed this facility to maintain medical operations even under direct assault. Foster, transmitting integration protocols now. Foster's engineering team worked swiftly to merge the ancient and modern systems. Hybrid protocols online. Power efficiency increased by 40% while maintaining full treatment capacity. Colonel Thompson's drones mapped the facility's continuing evolution as crystalline structures extended through newly secured sections. Framework expansion detected in Eastern Quadrant. Dr. Blackwood, quantum-resistant properties spreading to adjacent zones. Confirmed, Blackwood said, monitoring the sensor data. Dr. Winters, adjusting resonance frequencies to match expansion rate. Ambassador Harrison's secure channels lit up with incoming tactical updates. Medical transports inbound from outlying facilities. Council forces have established protected corridors for patient evacuation. Dr. Bell's medical replicators hummed at peak capacity as stabilized quantum-resistant cells filled specialized containment units. Dr. Ward, cellular viability analysis of latest production batch. Effectiveness doubled compared to initial samples, Ward reported, studying his bioquantum readouts. Dr. Harris confirms cross-species compatibility at optimal levels. Professor Richardson's instruments detected perfect harmonic convergence between the merged quantum systems. Chief Engineer Foster, power distribution achieving maximum theoretical efficiency. Installing additional capacitors now, Foster confirmed as his team modified the embassy's power grid. Crystalline network maintaining stable output across all treatment zones. Major Stevens directed his engineering corps to reinforce critical medical sectors. Multiple layers of quantum shielding merged with ancient Acampan defenses, creating an impenetrable barrier around patient treatment areas. Security Chief Roberts positioned his teams at key access points, establishing overlapping fields of fire while maintaining clear routes for medical personnel. The embassy's enhanced framework pulsed with contained energy as the merged technologies created an unprecedented healing environment. Dr. Baker's advanced diagnostic systems tracked multiple patient vitals simultaneously, monitoring the effectiveness of quantum cellular restoration across different stages of temporal degradation. The facility hummed with potential as the medical team prepared to receive their first wave of critical patients through the newly established evacuation routes. The facility's readiness was tested moments later as the first wave of medical transports appeared on long-range sensors. Multiple vessels incoming, Harrison announced, scanning the tactical display. 30 medical transports carrying critical patients from outlying facilities. Enemy targeting systems detected, Walker called, his sensors tracking multiple weapon locks on the approaching vessels. hostile units positioning for intercept. Drake's teams moved swiftly into predetermined positions along the evacuation routes. Alpha through Delta teams established defensive perimeter. Echo team, mobile support positions. Captain Davidson's Special Projects Unit deployed advanced shield generators at strategic points along the transport corridors. Mobile barriers active, he reported as quantum fields sprang to life between the generators, establishing overlapping coverage patterns. The first transport touched down as Baker's diagnostic systems came fully online. Medical teams rushed forward as the vessel's doors opened, revealing rows of patients displaying advanced symptoms of temporal degradation. Beginning intake procedures, Baker announced, his holographic displays tracking multiple vital signs simultaneously, implementing standardized treatment protocols across all zones. Bell's team activated banks of medical replicators, producing quantum-resistant cells at maximum capacity. Treatment pods 1 through 20 online, cellular delivery systems ready. The crystalline framework pulsed with increased energy as additional treatment pods activated automatically. Each pod's internal matrix synchronized with Chiral's healing field, creating optimal conditions for cellular regeneration. A series of sharp impacts rattled the facility's outer shields as enemy units opened fire on the medical corridor. Davidson's mobile barriers held firm, deflecting the incoming fire while Drake's combat teams returned precise quantum phase bursts. Dr. Norton arriving on Pad 3, Foster called as another transport materialized. The quantum power expert from IO quickly connected specialized equipment to the embassy's power grid. Implementing advanced routing protocols, Norton said, his experienced hands moving across multiple control interfaces. These capacitors will handle the load from simultaneous treatments. Tor's security station screens lit up with new data as his team accessed deeper archive levels. Dr. Petrov, we found additional medical protocols in the ancient database. Fascinating, Petrov said, analyzing the incoming data. These instructions detail methods for synchronizing multiple healing fields. Foster, can you implement these through the crystalline network? Integrating protocols now, Foster confirmed as he modified the power distribution matrix. Field synchronization achieving 97% efficiency. Thompson's drones mapped the facility's rapid expansion as the crystalline framework accelerated its growth. Nanite production increasing exponentially in sectors 5 through 8, he reported as new medical zones formed. Structural integrity optimal, Blackwood confirmed, monitoring the enhanced framework. Dr. Winters, quantum resonance maintaining perfect stability. A tactical alert drew attention to the command displays as Council forces breached General Verx's weapons facility. Research data secured, Steele reported, analyzing the captured technical specifications. Implementing countermeasures against quantum disruption weapons. Ward's bioquantum sensors registered unprecedented activity in the treatment zones. Cellular regeneration exceeding all previous benchmarks, he called as Cooper moved between diagnostic stations. Confirmation across all patient groups, Cooper said, studying the incoming data. Harris analyzed cross-species compatibility in Treatment Zone 4. 250% effectiveness confirmed, Harris responded as his instruments tracked the accelerated healing rates. Stevens' engineering core completed installation of modified enemy quantum tech, strengthening the embassy's defensive grid. Robert's security teams took up positions in their new quantum phase combat suits, establishing overlapping fields of protection around critical treatment areas. Fresh medical supplies materialized on the transport pads as Earth's Strategic Command pushed additional resources through the secured corridors. Bell's team quickly integrated the new quantum-compatible surgical units and enhanced medical replicators into the embassy's expanded infrastructure. The embassy hummed with contained power as Norton's advanced routing systems distributed energy through the crystalline framework. Baker's diagnostic displays showed stable vital signs across all treatment zones, as the merged technologies maintained perfect healing conditions for the growing patient population. Baker's diagnostic displays flickered with new data as quantum resonance patterns synchronized across all active treatment pods. The holographic readouts showed perfect alignment between the pods and Chiral's healing field, creating an unprecedented therapeutic environment. Full synchronization achieved, Baker announced, his fingers dancing across multiple control interfaces. All treatment zones operating at peak efficiency. A bright flash on the transport pad heralded the arrival of Dr. Thomas Whitman, his weathered features and silver hair reflecting decades of medical experience. The quantum medical pioneer from Mars Colonial Medical Center stepped forward, directing his team to begin unpacking prototype field replication devices. These units will duplicate Chiral's healing signature, Whitman explained, connecting the first device to Norton's power grid. Each replicator can support a complete treatment facility. Foster's engineering team moved swiftly to implement emergency protocols as power demand surged. Rerouting auxiliary systems, he called, modifying power conduits. Dr. Norton, quantum energy levels rising in medical zones 3 through 7. Compensating, Norton responded, his specialized routing systems adapting automatically. Converting excess healing field energy to support life support and medical operations. The command center erupted with activity as tactical displays showed Council forces converging on General Verx's position. Security feeds revealed the general attempting to escape through hidden quantum tunnels beneath his bunker. Target captured, Walker reported as Council teams secured the area. Colonel Thompson begins sweep of underground storage facilities. Multiple weapon caches located, Thompson confirmed while his drones mapped the subterranean complex. Major Drake's units moving to secure experimental quantum armaments. In the primary treatment zone, Bell's medical team initiated mass treatment protocols. Specialized delivery systems introduced quantum-resistant cells to dozens of patients simultaneously. Mitchell's crystalline scanners tracked cellular regeneration in real time. 94% success rate, Mitchell called out, studying the biotechnology readouts. Complete cellular restoration confirmed in primary treatment group. Torres accessed another layer of ancient systems, his security station revealing new quantum synchronization protocols. Dr. Petrov, implementing hybrid medical interfaces now. The facility's crystalline framework pulsed with increased energy as additional treatment zones activated. Thompson's drones installed framework extensions while Blackwood monitored structural integrity. Perfect quantum resonance maintained, Blackwood confirmed as the enhanced structure merged with Chiral's healing field. Dr. Winters, power distribution stable across all new sections. A massive shadow fell across the embassy's landing zone as the USS Hope took position overhead. The hospital ship's quantum-compatible medical systems powered up as Captain Hayes established secure docking procedures. Beginning patient transfer protocols, Hayes transmitted as medical teams coordinated movements through protected corridors, activating shipboard replicators for quantum-resistant cell production. Steele's quantum field amplifiers hummed as they integrated captured enemy technology. Stevens' engineering corps modified confiscated weapons, converting offensive systems into reinforced containment fields around treatment areas. Security checkpoints active at all access points, Roberts reported as his teams took up defensive positions. Maintaining quantum phase protection around medical zones. Ward's bioquantum sensors tracked treatment progress across multiple patient groups. His monitoring equipment registered successful cellular restoration in hundreds of cases as Whitman's replication devices began producing stable copies of Chiral's healing signature. Preparing distribution protocols for additional treatment centers, Whitman said, studying the replication data. These units will allow us to establish standardized healing environments in other Ocampan facilities. The embassy's enhanced systems maintained perfect stability as medical teams processed increasing numbers of patients. Norton's power management protocols automatically adjusted to handle the growing demand, while Foster's engineering crew installed additional quantum capacitors throughout the facility. Capacitor network stable, Norton confirmed, as Foster's engineering team completed the final power conduit modifications. The captured quantum weapons, now converted to power generation units, hummed with contained energy as they fed directly into the embassy's enhanced grid. In the primary control center, Dr. Whitman studied the readouts from his first set of quantum field replicators. Field signature matching achieved, he announced, analyzing the data streams. Initiating permanent installation sequence at Medical Center Alpha. Baker moved between holographic displays, his diagnostic systems tracking the field replication process across 5 major Ocampan facilities. Perfect quantum resonance confirmed in all locations. Treatment zones show identical healing properties to original embassy protocols. The facility's crystalline framework pulsed with renewed intensity as Foster integrated the modified weapon systems into the power grid. Energy readings spiked across all monitoring stations before settling into a stable, self-sustaining pattern. Power conversion successful, Foster reported. The weapon elements are generating clean quantum energy at 120% of projected capacity. On the tactical displays, Walker's security teams transmitted confirmation codes as they breached the final underground storage facility. Last weapon cache secured, Walker called. Multiple experimental prototypes located. Drake's quantum phase units moved swiftly through the subterranean complex, their specialized containment fields activating around the captured weapons. Prototypes secured for transport. Technical documentation recovered from central computers. Ambassador Harrison's diplomatic feed lit up as the evidence streamed to council headquarters. Criminal documentation verified, he transmitted. Council justice protocols initiating against General Verks and command staff. Dr. Bell's medical station erupted with activity as activation signals reached 20 additional treatment centers. Global protocols engaging, he announced, while Mitchell's crystalline scanners tracked cellular restoration rates across all facilities. 98% success rate confirmed, Mitchell called, his biotechnology displays showing perfect cellular structure in treated patients. Cooper, verify quantum field stability in outlying zones. Fields holding steady, Cooper responded, monitoring the treatment network. All new zones maintaining optimal conditions for cellular regeneration. Torres accessed the final layer of ancient systems, his security station glowing with activation sequences. Dr. Petrov, initiating complete database integration. Remarkable, Petrov said as he studied the merged protocols. The combined healing systems are processing patients at unprecedented rates. Thompson's drones transmitted completion signals as they installed the last crystalline framework components. The embassy's enhanced structure gleamed with contained power, while Blackwood's instruments tracked quantum field metrics throughout the facility. Structural resonance optimal, Blackwood confirmed. Dr. Winters, verify field alignment across all zones. Perfect synchronization maintained, Winters responded, his stabilizers automatically adjusting field frequencies across the expanded medical network. The command center's main display activated as Admiral Hawthorne's task force appeared in orbit. 12 hospital ships took up strategic positions around the planet, their medical transport systems powering up. Fleet deployment complete, Hawthorne transmitted from the flagship, beginning systematic distribution of treatment resources to all registered facilities. Steel's quantum field amplifiers pulsed as they converted the final batch of enemy weapons. The modified systems integrated smoothly with Stevens' power generation units, while Robert's security teams established permanent defensive positions around each treatment center. Dr. Ward moved between monitoring stations as his bioquantum sensors tracked patient statistics. 10,000 successful treatments confirmed, he reported, while Whitman's replication devices continued producing stable healing fields across the medical network. The embassy's expanded treatment zones processed patients at maximum capacity as the combined human Ocampan medical staff implemented permanent training protocols. Each healing pod maintained perfect quantum resonance, while Norton's routing systems distributed power through the crystalline conduits. Admiral Hawthorne's fleet established secure corridors for medical transport, as specialized engineering teams deployed additional field replication devices. The modified enemy weapons provided sustained power to the embassy's enhanced systems, while Thompson's drones continued mapping the expanded facility. Footsteps echoed through the crystalline corridors as Chiral entered the main medical bay, moving with steady grace that seemed impossible just 3 weeks prior. The young Ocampan's neural network emanated a soft blue radiance that pulsed in harmony with the embassy's quantum framework. "Remarkable," Dr. Baker said, studying his diagnostic readouts. "Complete cellular stability across all markers." His fingers flew across the holographic interface, documenting every aspect of Chiral's transformation. Dr. Ward's bioquantum sensors hummed as they analyzed the patient's quantum signature. Zero temporal degradation detected. The cure is permanent. The treatment pods surrounding Chiral flickered with increased intensity. Foster's engineering station lit up as power readings surged across the quantum capacitor network. Energy synchronization occurring spontaneously, Foster reported, watching as Chiral's presence amplified the healing fields. All 37 pods are resonating at enhanced frequencies. Dr. Whitman rushed to his replication devices, adjusting their scanning parameters to capture the improved patterns. These enhanced signatures will upgrade treatment protocols across every facility. The healing potential has nearly doubled. The embassy's main hall transformed into a gathering space as Ambassador Harrison prepared for the pardoning ceremony. Council security teams escorted 2 figures through the crystalline archway Chiral's parents, their faces bright with restored health. "By order of the Ocampan High Council," Harrison announced, his voice carrying through the chamber, "full pardons are granted to Merrick and Lysara, whose actions, though born of desperation, led to salvation for countless lives." Chiral's steps quickened as he approached his parents. They met in the medical bay where his treatment began, their embrace casting ripples through the quantum field. Dr. Bell's medical scanners confirmed perfect cellular restoration in all 3 family members. Colonel Thompson's drones moved with precision through the complex, their construction beams converting the final military installations. Crystalline framework components clicked into place as the embassy completed its transformation into a permanent healing center. "Structural integration complete," Blackwood announced from his monitoring station. "The quantum framework now encompasses the entire facility." Major Stevens directed his engineering teams as they mounted commemorative plates throughout the complex. Each marker bore quantum-etched text describing the medical breakthroughs achieved during Chiral's treatment. Admiral Hawthorne's voice came through the command center speakers. "Operation Healing Light status report: 100,000 patients successfully treated across all population centers. Cure rate holding at 99.8%. Chiral approached the ancient security console where Torres had first discovered the hidden medical protocols. His fingers moved across the crystalline surface with practiced confidence, activating the final sequence. Dr. Petrov's analysis systems registered an immediate response. Crisis resolution protocol engaging. The quantum resonance is amplifying through all connected facilities. Blue-white energy cascaded through the embassy's framework as Chiral's enhanced signature merged with the ancient system. The harmonic pattern spread outward, strengthening treatment fields across the planet's medical network. Dr. Bell stood at his primary workstation, archiving the detailed treatment records into the quantum crystal matrix. Beside him, Chiral spoke quietly into a recording interface, sharing his perspective on the historic events. The young Ocampan reached into his tunic and withdrew a crystalline medallion. The traditional life debt symbol caught the light as he presented it to Dr. Bell. Their hands met over the gift as Chiral's quantum signature pulsed one final time through the embassy systems. Blue-white brilliance flooded the medical bay, rippling through the crystalline framework in waves of pure healing energy. The medical team watched in silence as Chiral joined his parents, their figures framed in the doorway of the transformed facility. Foster's engineering displays tracked the sustained power readings as the enhanced healing field stabilized. Thompson's drones continued their precise movements, expanding the quantum framework while Stevens' teams installed the final commemorative markers. Through it all, Norton's routing systems maintained perfect distribution of the amplified energy throughout the embassy's vast network of treatment zones. The quantum capacitors hummed with contained power as Baker's diagnostic systems cataloged the improved healing protocols. New patients arrived through the secured corridors, ready to receive treatment in the enhanced pods that now carried Chiral's strengthened signature. The merged human Ocampan medical staff moved with practiced efficiency, implementing the upgraded procedures across all active treatment zones.